Welcome back to Tabletop Titans. We have another 9th edition codex review and overview. This time it is the Necrons, the very first xenos codex, and I'm here to tell you this is a really fun and exciting book, and for what it signals for more to come, I'm super encouraged about this book and where they're taking codexes in general in 9th edition. I think it's going to be really great. So why don't we jump ahead? There's so much to go through, so we can't waste any time. Let's jump ahead and go through this book. So one of the things about this book, it's generally, I just got to say, there's opens up a ton of playstyles. The Necrons, you might have known, one of the weakest factions from a purely rules perspective in 8th edition. Their book was kind of instantly out of date when it came out, and it never got good. So many of the units were just dead on arrival. They just were not good. They never got a psychic awakening. This army was the most left behind, and they've really rewarded us with a fantastic book. So we're going to go through everything today, basically every major category. Because everything's good, there's so much to go through. There's so many new units, so much more nuance. It's a much more complicated book.
There's so much going on.
So many more rules and interactions. The army is harder to play than ever, but also more rewarding to master than ever. So that's all going to be really, really exciting. Just before we go ahead and get through the book, I want to remind everyone that this month or these couple weeks is when we've just launching our Titans Premium.
That's right.
And we're going to be telling you about it every video for the next 2 weeks, so bear with us. Thank you so much if you've already joined. But there's always new stuff going on. Of course, we have members-only videos in here. The very first members-only video is coming tomorrow. It's a live game, 6 p.m. And that game is actually going to be voted on by subscribers. And that is the second value. You get access to our private Discord, which is for members only. You can join Discord anyways, but there's a members only area where you can vote on many things. One of the things you get to vote on is the Tuesday game. And voting is open for that. We're going to close it at the end of the show. So there's still time. Join now. Jump into the Discord. Make your voice heard. And you can vote on the game that we're going to be playing tomorrow. So we'll announce that at the very end. And we also have amazing custom 40K emoji that we've done. You could use them in Discord. You could use them here. You could throw some wags in the chat if you want.
If you haven't seen it, let's get some waz.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of the Tau emote.
That's the drone. One. That's great.
No, not the drone.
Oh, the like happy, this one here.
It's one of my favorites.
It is one of my favorites. We've got many more coming, so that's great. We've also got stretch goals, and Bridger, how are we doing with the stretch goals?
Yeah, so last night we actually broke our next stretch goal.
Whoa, thank you so much, everyone. So we're over 1,000. What does that unlock, Bridger?
That's going to unlock 2 Age of Sigmar games.
Wow, this has been something that people have been asking for a long time. And we're big fans of Age of Sigmar. We'd love to start playing it more on the channel. The actual games, we don't have every Age of Sigmar army, but we have a number of them.
Substantial enough.
So we can allow, chat's going to get to vote on that. We'll put those votes up in a couple weeks. What's the next stretch goal, Bridger?
Yeah, so we just broke 1,000. The next is 1,250. And that's going to be sort of automated voice chat rooms in our Discord.
Oh, nice.
So we'll make a bot that will create new empty rooms for you guys to hang out in. There will always be an open room. You can always just grab a friend, maybe play some games, hang out, whatever you want to do with it.
It's good for Tabletop Simulator. It's good for just hanging out and painting.
Definitely where this came from is that there were a lot of requests for ways to let our members organize and actually play things like TTS, hang out, just chat, stuff like that. Again, the Discord's only a couple days old and it's just blowing up, so I definitely encourage you guys.
How many members do we have in the Discord already?
Almost at 2,000 members.
Wow, so it is a very vibrant 40K community. I encourage you to go and join. And let's get those subs in. Let's break those 1,250. We have tons more stretch goals you can see here, and we'll check in at the end of the show and see how we're doing.
Absolutely.
All right?
Sounds good.
All right, so why don't we jump into the show and talk about this book. Let's go over some of the army-wide things that have changed. There's basically a large number of big things. And Bridger, do you want to bring up, we've got a basic overview of the big things that have changed here. And I'm going to start by telling you there's a new thing, command protocols.
Cool.
It's kind of like doctrines.
Yeah, very much so.
Right?
They're like doctrines. There are different abilities that activate in different turns, but they do differ in the sense that you actually get to choose before the game which turn is going to activate which protocol.
It's like doctrines, but more complicated. We're going to go over them in detail later.
That's the overview of it.
They've also put living metal on everything in the entire book, so everything is regaining a wound. That's your Catan shards, all your vehicles, your characters, your destroyers, your canoptic everything.
That's right.
Even your little scarabs. Everyone's getting a wound.
Even the scarabs,
Everyone is getting a wound back. and that is actually a big. I think it's a kind of a big buff. It's a lot of efficiency. The other big thing, quantum shielding.
Quantum shielding is one of those classic mechanics that was always, if you get hit by something, you can roll a dice, and if you roll below the damage characteristic, it's completely ignored. It was very swingy, not great against a lot of different types of weapons. This has gotten a complete rework. It's awesome. Now just a 5+ invuln.
That's right.
And basically permanent transhuman. That means that you cannot wound these things on anything better than a 4. And they just get it all the time now. It's great.
This was an iconic rule for this army, and they've changed it quite a bit. They've also changed Tesla. Tesla was like the iconic weapon here, where it had every 6 to hit was 3 hits.
That's right.
That is still the case, but it used to be on every 6+, which means when you buffed yourself +1 to hit, you got it on 5s. Now it's unmodified, so you're always getting it on 6s. Even if there's a -1 or a +1.
They say 6+, but it could also be 6-, right? And especially with 9th edition having the prevalence of just -1 on the board, doesn't even matter if the other army doesn't have it. This was something that, at least in our own games, was happening just as often as the +1. So now you're always going to get Tesla. It can't get as
that's
spiky.
Not worse. That's not better. It's on average, it's probably a little bit. It's probably a teeny bit worse, but you'll find that just as often in 9th edition that it's good. They introduced the core concept of core keywords. We're going to go over that in detail. They've also dramatically changed reanimation protocols, and this is like the heart of the army. This is a big one to change.
This is a really big rework, and there's been a lot of discussion about what it actually means, what it does. Overall, it's great for warriors. Should we go ahead and explain what it does before we dive in?
Talk through it.
So the new reanimation protocol is at the end of a attack sequence, right?
And it has to be an attack.
An attack, no mortal wounds, no explosions.
Yeah, so if someone psychics you or a tank explodes in your face, you can't reanimate those. You're only reanimating attacks. So this is close combat, this is shooting.
After a unit's finished attacking one of your units with this rule, you roll a dice equal to the number of wounds that were essentially lost. So warriors, you roll 1 dice for each guy. Destroyers, it's 3 dice. Every 5+ adds a wound to this pool, right?
That's right.
And then you can res models equal to the number of...
And you have to res a full wound model. So if you've lost 2 destroyers, they're 3 wounds each, so that's 6 dice in the pool. You throw them, and then let's say you roll 4 5s. Well, that's enough to bring 1 full guy back, but then you have 1 wound left over, it just gets wasted.
Exactly, and that's a good thing to bring up because I think it's confusing for some people. It is based off your wound's characteristic. You don't get a destroyer at 1 wound, things like that. So it is worse for destroyers that don't take a lot of hits in 1 turn, right? If you have a unit of 5 and you actually lose 4 of them, you actually have pretty good odds. But
you'll get like 1 or 2.
But if you lose 1 destroyer,
you're never getting
back. But for warriors, for immortals, for all these smaller things with single wounds, it's much more powerful. You basically have to wipe them in a single attack, basically.
It's stronger than ever on single wound models, and living metal is the thing that makes multi-wound models a little more efficient as well.
That's true.
So there's kind of a dichotomy there between that. Overall, the army is a lot more durable.
It is.
If you've seen our first battle report just last week, we could see the army was way more durable.
It really was.
Right? And I love that about it. One of the other big things, he is the elephant in the room. It is the Silent King.
That's right.
The Silent King is the other big things that's changed. And I really can't wait to get him on the tabletop. I pre-ordered him actually just this morning, along with a bunch of other stuff. But it still says it's coming on time next Saturday. And he just does everything. I've never seen a model like him in 40K. And if he's a template for like what a leader of an army or faction is supposed to look like, it's pretty crazy, right?
He's so cool because he kind of has the power of a Primarch, but he has a million more synergies than what we're used to, right? He's kind of one of these traditional boss fight models we've been seeing, like Triumph of St. Catherine and things like that. But he just synergizes so well with the units around him. He also has a few other things that are really unique, right? He has a tons of wounds. He technically has...
He has 26 wounds because he has 2 shields that come with him. You'll see him in the pictures there. He has 2 here, right over here, here. So he's got these 2 shields, and they have 5 wounds each. They're toughness 7. And they have a 4-up invuln.
That's right.
And you have to kill them first.
They also have living metal.
So that's a really tricky thing. So you got to get through all those wounds, but it also means that he can be obscured.
That's the thing. It's a really tricky kind of dastardly way of actually making him obscurable, because this is a massive model. You can see even from the pictures. So he's obscurable. He has these wounds. It keeps him below that. And he does, unlike the new repulsors, has fly. And so you can actually come up behind terrain, pop out, hit things with his actually substantial profile.
I agree.
He has a ton of shooting, right?
Well, the big pylons, they actually shoot.
They shoot,
And so once they die, you lose a bit of your shooting.
Right.
But okay, so cool. Lots of wounds. Really, really durable, actually. And he's so durable that you don't often want to even shoot at him.
No.
But, okay, let's say you're trying to take him down. You'll get through him eventually.
Sure, sure.
He's 450 points, which I actually think is totally in the realm of...
Okay, if you look at the Demon Primarchs, right?
Yeah, you could put him in that.
Cool.
He's a Supreme Commander. He's the first model with the Supreme Commander keyword on him. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
He also can deny Psychic Power, just like a Psyker. It's a nice little feather in your cap for an army that has no Psychic.
Yeah, exactly.
He has a 6-inch aura of reroll wounds in combat.
Now, you said wounds.
Yeah.
Not ones.
No.
Just flat out wounds.
Just reroll all wounds in combat within 6 inches.
Yep.
He has a 6-inch aura of reroll hits in shooting. Okay.
Again, same thing.
That's
Crazy.
unbelievable. He has the standard Relentless March, so +1 movement within 6 inches. Yep. He can do My Will Be Done twice. So that's +1 to hit to really 2 units. Yeah, so that's really good. And then he can alter the command protocol once.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which is an army-wide ability change.
Now, is that switch which of the two options or change the protocol
it's
from
changed
a whole...
the protocol
wow.
that you've picked, and you could pick one for the second time.
Yeah,
that's really big.
It's really big.
It's
you could
huge.
give your army fallback and shoot for an extra turn that it wasn't supposed to.
Right.
You could give it cover when it wasn't, all kinds of cool stuff. So he also gives you 3 command points for joining the army, and he costs you nothing.
That's that double whammy. If he doesn't cost anything like normal Lord of War because he is a Supreme Commander, and he gives you +3.
And he's not eating an HQ slot.
That's right.
So
that's right.
So he's really, really great on that. And then eventually when you do kill him, he explodes on a 4-up, 2d6 range.
I love it.
For d6 damage. So it's like, oh, you killed me? I just took 1,000 points of your army in death.
I love it. It's so good.
So really, really impressive data sheet and an impressive model. One of the best GW's ever done.
To see in person.
So we're going to get him on the table. We have a master painter, Israel Sanchez, who I don't know if you've seen him around Facebook. You might have.
He's pretty good.
He's okay, He'll be doing up the Silent King. He's so excited, and I think we are too.
It's going to be great.
So probably within, I'd say, 2 weeks from today, we'll be close to having him, probably, if not.
We're going to be like outside of his house with like pitchforks.
Yeah, that's right.
You're like, keep going, buddy. It's fine. You got this.
Okay, so we talked about command protocols. That's the next thing that we should go over. They're pretty complicated. So what happens is there's 6 command protocols, okay? And before the game, it's actually after you deploy, but before you determine who's going first.
Excellent.
You actually write down in secret which 5 you want and in which order they're going to happen. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Now, then you reveal it every turn at the start of the battle round.
Okay.
You reveal which one it is. And then each one has 2 abilities. So you reveal it, and then you pick which ability is active for that turn. So if let's say you picked your order wrong, at least you have some choices.
Sure.
And there are very few things that interact with this, but a good example is every single dynasty has one preferred one preferred command protocol.
Like a super doctrine. Almost.
Yeah, it's like a super doctrine. And that means on the turn that one comes up, they get both abilities.
That's great.
So instead of just the one. That's basically what it is. Now, there's even more complexity to it. You only benefit from these within 6 inches of a character.
And not a Catan.
Not a Catan. Any other character.
Yep.
So let's say you have a unit of warriors way at the back, and they're just sitting on an objective, and you pick the one that gives you cover. Well, you don't get cover or whatever because there's no character next to it.
Right. It's a very like Age of Sigmar death thing, right? Yeah. That works kind of the same way.
You're right, actually, it does. They need the characters to keep them alive.
So lore-wise, I think it's interesting. Game-wise, that's a pain.
It is a pain, and because the characters are pretty pricey, and also the characters are not that useful.
Right.
And the characters have always been a tax for this army, and this makes it another tax. But I'm going to go through them quickly. So Sudden Storm, this is +1 to move, and it's also the ability to shoot and take an action.
That's cool.
This one is really good, the turn 1. Basically, this if you're looking for a turn 1 option, this is my favorite turn 1. Sudden Storm is really good.
I love it, again, for that early banners or trying to run up and do something. I can see those 5 intercessors that are trying to do the same thing. They might be taking my banners down, things like that. So it actually lets you respond to it immediately and get in the action.
And you're fast. Keep in mind. So let's say you have a Humble Warrior, 5-inch move.
Yeah.
He actually has a 7-inch move turn 1.
That's right.
Because he gets +1 from Relentless March, and then +1 from this. And if you've got like a Triarch Praetorian with a jump pack, they're moving really fast turn 1. So it's really great. So they can get up on that banner,
shoot,
and then activate.
Great.
So I'm actually really into that one.
Yeah.
The next one, Eternal Guardian. This is cover if you don't move. And this one is set to defend or hold steady anywhere on the battlefield. Now, if you don't know those, that's the ability to overwatch on 5s or +1 to hit in combat if you're charged. Now, this one is clutch if you're going if you're going second in every battle round.
Right.
So imagine I do this in battle round 2. Well, I have to have not moved this round, And since I haven't had a chance to even go yet,
that's so wonky.
They always have to shoot me before I move, which means I always get my cover. And so this is only ever worth taking, period, if you're going second.
But you don't know it. So
you don't
kind of have to gamble on it, right?
It's
the one upside, though, is it is also good going first turn, right? If you want to go second for this, right?
Okay.
But if you are, no, you just really want to go second.
You never get any benefit if you're going first.
But it gives you that durability to turn one, because you don't know. So you have to kind of take that bet. You can use things like the Silent King, bring it in later on.
Well, let me give you an example.
You could plan for, right?
If you know your opponent absolutely wants first, then you can already deploy as though you're going second. Yeah. And then no matter what happens, if they get it, they're going to take it. If you get it, you're going to give it.
Right.
So in some matches, you will know for sure if you're going to have bottom of round.
That's great.
And then you can pick this one. So this one is the one that you'll never use. Like out of the 6, you'll never use it except for when you're going to be going bottom of round.
Fair enough.
That's a tricky one there.
It is.
So Vengeful Stars is the next one. This is a 6 to wound, is +1 AP in shooting, and then no cover within half range. This is a midboard shooting army.
So good.
Turn 2 or turn 3, they're vicious at midboard shooting. This just takes it up a notch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we saw this with Mefrit.
I was going to say, we saw it last Saturday, and it works really well for a couple of the dynasties.
Yeah,
the ones
this is the Mefrit special one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Where you just have so much AP coming at you. It's a smaller board. You're playing for the midfield. This is a very 9th edition rule. Yeah. Really tasty.
We're on to the Novak special one.
Oh, yeah.
Hungry Void. This is a 6 to wound, is +1 AP in combat. Ooh. And then it's also +1 strength in combat if you were charged for to intervene. You know,
that's cool.
The spiel.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
It's really good, especially once we get to Novak later on, talking about the combinations in that are ridiculous.
Well, keep in mind, even a humble warrior blob.
Yeah, going strength 5.
They're strength 5.
That's a big deal.
They're strength 5. They're probably hitting on 2s for My Will Be Done. And then every 6 to wound was an extra AP, so they have AP 0. So now they actually have AP. They're actually slapping guys.
That's right.
I'm kind of into that. So I really love that. The next one, Undying Legion, you'll get +1 on your living metal. So instead of getting 1 wound back that turn on living metal, you get 2.
That's cool.
That could be huge for a Catan.
Yeah, seriously.
Something like that.
Anything that degrades, really.
Yeah, it's great for your characters, great for everything. So you want to take this mid game to, like, let's say turn 3-ish, when you've probably taken a bit of wounds, but not everything's dead, and you want to just get a bit more efficiency back. The other one you get from this, you get to reroll 1 of your dice in reanimation. I doubt this is going to be anything.
It's literally one
dice. If you were super duper MSU and your opponent, I don't know. It's 1 dice. Okay, so it's every time you reanimate. So if you have a unit, and they're doing little pot shots at you, cool. But if they have like a mega unit that's shooting, you're not going to get much out of it.
Or if you have, you need MSU, and it almost is better suited for those multi-wound models, where you really need that clutch, just like 1 more, right? Because the odds are you're going to be just short of another destroyer or whatever. So
the last one is Conquering Tyrant. This is the Sawtech special one.
Cool.
It's +3 inch to all your aura ranges. There's actually it's more complicated than that, because you can also get +6 inches if your aura is to warriors.
Oh, that's right.
But fine, whatever. And then you also get fallback and shoot at -1 army wide. Now that's like Doomsday Arcs, warriors. Nice. Now you already have the Royal Warden, but that's a pick 1.
Right.
And that's only on core, so that's not your vehicles and things like that.
Right.
So that's a really good turn 2 or 3 also, when depending on the speed of your opponent. This one is big, and you can imagine the Silent King really making use of this. Like, oh, they really surprised me. They piled in, touched a bunch of my army. Uh-oh, switch the protocol. Now we're all falling back.
So
like
gross.
You thought you got us, but we're right there. And with My Will Be Done, it's not -1. I'm like back to hitting on normal.
It out. That's great.
And he has 2 My Will Be Done, so it's like, it's good.
The combinations in there are just ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think what I used in the last game, and what's kind of common, is like Sudden Storm first, Vengeful Stars second, Conquering Tyrant third, Hungry Void, and then Eternal Guardian. That's a good example of like a midboard shooting army, but you're going to have like your playbook that's typical for you, and you'll alter it very
largely based off of probably your dynasty first and your army build second, right?
That's right. Yeah, if you're going combat or you're going shooting, it's one of those.
You know.
All right, so the next is, let's talk about the dynasties. They changed quite a bit. I'm going to talk about my top 3 dynasties first. My top 3 dynasties are basically Mefrit, Novak, and Nihilak.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the 3. And yeah, I have, so these are painted Sawtech. They're not on my top list. The new Caesarians are not my top.
No.
What do you think of, let's go with your boys first. What do you think of them?
The Nihilak. So I love the Nihilak. This is the super OBSEC dynasty. So if you don't know, what they do is the entire faction gets OBSEC. Amazing. So your Wraiths, your Destroyers, all those things, those are all now OBSEC. And if you already have OBSEC, you count as having twice as many like bodies as you do. So 10 warriors turns into 20, 20 turns into 40.
Yeah.
Just dominate on the objectives. And
It's
this
crazy.
is what the game is primarily about, right? So really, really powerful first ability.
Yeah.
It's balanced out by a not so powerful second ability.
Yeah.
This is the ability to ignore -1 AP when you're in your deployment zone.
Wholly within your deployment zone.
Yeah.
Wholly within your deployment zone. So first turn, good. If you have a few backfield things that are going to be back there, it could be okay.
They'll be tougher to kill, and you don't have to dedicate as much, I guess, back there.
Yeah.
But because it's -1, it's not like you're ignoring the first round or anything.
Yeah.
It's very specific. But having said that, this balances out for the fact that they have an amazing primary ability.
Yes.
What's their favorite protocol?
It's the Eternal Guardian. This is the one where you ignore or you get cover if you don't move.
Right.
And so again, going bottom of turn is really good for this army overall because they want you to shoot them in their deployment zone, and then they'll also have cover, and you know what I mean. And then they also have the set to defend, so they're just more defensive. That's
sense.
their general ability. So they're very, very tanky if you're going second.
Yeah.
And the MSU is so good. Imagine just scarabs up on a point.
Yeah.
They're so fast. They're throwaway. Warriors, anything up there. It's really, really
Those
good.
scarabs I'm especially excited about because they've always been amazing. The only downside was they're fast attack, they're not obsec, things like that. So when I bring my Necrons to the table, we'll be trying those out, and that'll be very, very soon.
Their key strat is the ability to, for 1 CP at any point, shoot and do an action.
That's cool.
So actually, I think that's really useful as well. You imagine you've got a Night Scythe, and it flies to the back of the board, and it drops 20 warriors into close range.
Right.
And then they do deploying scramblers, and then they just ice the unit in front of them.
So good.
Right?
Right.
Like, that is efficiency right there.
Or even just like your big units of warriors, they'll come up the field, and often, do you want to raise that banner, or do you want to shoot with 40 shots, right?
Right.
Well, now you can do both.
That's right. Great. So that's a good one. Okay, so Novak is the next one.
Sure. This one's cool.
Novak is the combat oriented guys. They're the red heads, and
they gotta go fast.
They've got and they're probably the ones I love thematically the most. Like I love the way they play on the board because they're just so vicious. Yeah. They gave them +1 charge as like a base ability, and they gave them +1 AP on the charge. Oh my, oh my. That is so good.
It's so good.
And their special ability is Hungry Void, as I said, is +1 AP on 6s, so an additional AP.
Right.
And keep in mind, a lot of the weapons in this book already got an additional AP.
Right.
So you take something like Flayed Ones.
Right.
They have 1 AP base now. They used to have 0. This takes them up to AP2, right, on the charge.
Right.
And then every 6 is AP3, right? Wow. And they get +1 strength in combat. So now they were strength 4, now they're up to strength 5. I can pay another CP to get them up to strength 6. Ooh, okay.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And again, even the things like the Humble Warrior, if you played Bloody Rose Sisters or against them, getting that extra AP and that extra strength, which is even better here, that is huge. So if you have 20 bodies that are suddenly -1 AP, you can get strength bonuses.
Yeah.
That's really scary, and even your non-combat units become a threat, and people suddenly don't want to just touch in or charge or whatever.
And I just talked about one combat unit, right, which was the Flayed Ones, and they're big winners for this. But all your Scorpec destroyers
are disgusting. With
this. Your Ophidian destroyers are amazing. Everything's really solid. Their stratagem, Blood Rights, used to be fight twice.
Yeah.
Okay? They took that away.
Right.
But now they gave fight twice for 2 CP to Flayed 1 units. So anyone has that.
Yeah, kind of like the Marines.
Now what Blood Rights does is just +1 attack to all models in the unit.
I'll take that.
So let's say you have a unit of Lich Guard charging in, which already have +1 attack in the book. Now you give them an additional +1 attack.
Oh my god.
And they're going to kill anything.
Well, it's great, especially because Fight Twice is awesome, but that's only assuming you actually have units to attack back with afterwards, right?
Because you can't tag 2 units. You have to make your charge to 2 things. So +1 attack just gets the job
done.
done.
And then they can still interrupt,
and they get to activate.
Things like that. And so the +1 attack, while you're obviously not getting as much value, you're getting different kind of value in that you get to do it before the opponent actually gets to react. That's a big deal.
1 CP.
1 CP!
So
crazy.
So that's good.
Oh, I love it.
The last one we're talking about is Mephrit, and Mephrit's the one that I've already played. They're the mid-board shooting champions. And with so many units, everyone bring these tough units in the center. Like I'll bring my Terminators or my Gravis and all these things. Really good armor saves. Mephrit is the ones that can get that job done because they've got +3 inch range. So this is good. It takes your 14-inch range new warrior guns to 17.
Right.
So they're like assault 2, 17-inch range. Okay, that's actually playable. And or it takes your it gives you 1 extra inch on your rapid fire.
Right.
Which in that game mattered a lot. I was only just getting into 13-inch range all the time.
Yeah.
And you also get +1 AP within half, which this whole army wants to play within that half space.
Yeah.
So it takes your weapons from AP1 to AP2, or those new ones from AP2 to AP3.
So nasty.
That's really big.
I love this with things like Veil. to refer to that game because we learned so much even through that. You just veiled over, and you can guarantee that the entire squad is in rapid fire range, minus 2 AP. And I was like, cool, well, there's nothing I can do. That is absolutely devastating. So their protocol that they want to be in is
the Vengeful
Stars, which is the extra AP on a 6 to wound for shooting, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then
no
cover within half range.
So it's just all
which,
AP.
Again, they want to be.
It's just all AP ignoring.
Right. Well, this is essentially +1 AP within half. You can get another AP on 6 to wound. You can ignore cover, which is basically another AP.
+1 AP.
So you're basically getting +3 AP on top of...
On guns that already have at least 1 AP.
Yeah. That's
nuts. So it's really, really good.
What?
This army is crazy devastating on turn 2 and 3, right in that mid board.
That's where they really thrive.
And their stratagem got a little worse. They used to have a talent for annihilation, which just gave you a lot of extra shots.
Right.
They've now taken that ability and made it army-wide, but kind of toned down, honestly. Now what it does is every 6 to wound is a mortal wound, which, great, but they capped it at 3. Oh. And that's a shame.
It's a big bummer, honestly.
For 1 CP, it's like, when you absolutely have to do those wounds, it's great. And I did some work with it, but not really enough in that test game.
No.
So there is a bunch of other dynasties, you know, Caesarian, Sautek, and what's the last? I always forget the last one. Nephric, right?
Nephric, yeah.
And they're okay.
They're right.
They're okay, but they're not as good as those top 3. Yeah. Those are the 3 you're going to see.
Exactly. And of course, Caesarian, Zarin, what is it?
Caesarian or
it is
Caesarian, something like that.
They of course have the big benefit of taking the Silent King. So generally, if I'm playing that faction, it's because I'm playing the Silent King.
That's
whose buffs are not to be disregarded.
So yeah, you think about the buff to that faction is the King's buffs.
Right. Exactly.
It's not them. And what they have is they have like a 6-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds. And
Salamander reroll, right? The new one.
They have the reroll 1 to wound, and this army tends to play with big units.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to take a bunch of MSU, you could get some value out of that.
If you want your Death Rays,
it's okay.
If you like Death Rays, play that back.
They have the ability to deny on a 4-up with an 18. Very useful strat.
That's really good. That's
a very good. That's a good strat.
Already have a deny with the Silent King.
And there's other ways to get denies.
That's really good, actually. Because it's 1 CP, right? So it's a shorter range. But you know, the Iron Hands one went up to 2 CP because that's what's reasonable, and this is for 1 CP. So
yeah.
Anyways, those are the main houses.
You can also create your own dynasties.
That's right.
Now. And the way you do it, there's 2 sections in the book. Okay. There's dynastic traditions, so you pick one from that category, and then there's circumstances of awakening. That's your kind of second category.
I love it.
And in the first category, you have the ability to give your whole army OBSEC. It's a pretty good one.
That's pretty good.
You also have an ability to give +1 charge. So those were, as you can see, 2 of our best abilities from the last set. So good.
That's great.
There's also a cool one that I liked, which was -1 toughness within an inch. It's an interesting combat one as well. Yeah. I don't know if it's better than +1 to charge, but
you can build around it.
You could build around it, yeah. So
so those are the primary categories.
That's the primary.
Right? You cannot combine those, to be clear, because that would be amazing.
-1 toughness and +1 charge would be great, or +1 charge and OBSEC. Those would be. Let's do that one actually. But no, they didn't let you do that. And the next, the Circumstance of Awakening, they have a really wild one that I've never seen before. Your whole army can move 6 inches before the game.
Right. Just that's weird.
Combine that with the Deceiver.
I think that's really good.
Yeah, combine that with the Deceiver, where you move 3 units.
Yeah.
And then you move them all 6 inches.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I was over here. Now I'm not only here, but up
closer.
here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild.
It's super
I don't
weird
even know what I would do with it.
I need to see it on the table, but I think it's really interesting, right?
Burn a lot of playtime in the tournament.
I'm going to set up 3 times.
That's right.
And then maybe we'll play the game.
I'll deploy, and then I'll deploy again. Yeah. And then I'll move after my deploy before you, before you go.
Yeah. And good game.
That's right. There's also another one, +1 strength with rapid fire weapons within 12 inches.
That one's kind of cute.
Yeah, because that takes your standard Gauss weapon up to strength 5.
Makes it more like a mortal Gauss, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is cool.
That I'm kind of pair that with OBSEC. Maybe we got a thing there.
Yeah.
The next one is vehicles can fall back and shoot, or shoot with no penalty in combat.
Funny enough, that one's probably the best of those second ones.
Potentially, especially if you wanted to invest, like if you wanted to play mostly vehicles.
Well, again, so like Doomsday Arcs, right? They have blast weapons. They really don't want to be shooting in combat.
That's right.
And you can't use the Warden's ability because they're not core.
That's right.
So really, if you want to run units like that, you want to look at this custom one or Silent King, things like that.
The reason I'm not so excited about this is I already have the protocol to do this. So I already have one whole turn where my whole army can fall back and shoot. This is the whole game, which is good. But if I'm clever, and
it should only happen once or twice.
It should only happen once or twice.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's more of a case of like, it makes your play easier, but in the end, you can be more successful with something else because you don't need this, right? And that's something we actually see a lot with 9th edition. Yeah. Is like, do you want to take the easier option, or the tougher option that in the end is going to be better, right?
One of the downsides if you pick one of these custom dynasties is you no longer get a super protocol.
Yeah.
You don't get a protocol that's like your favorite.
These are not successor dynasties.
That's right. So you lose your special strat, and you lose your special relics and warlord traits. So you are giving up quite a bit. Obviously, you could build something very particular, as we said, like OBSEC is really great, plus like better shooting.
Sure.
Then maybe that's good, but is it better than just taking Nihilek? I don't know about that.
It's an unfortunate trend, right? We've already seen this with Tyranids and Eldar and things like that, where it was like, okay, well, they're not successors, they don't inherit any traits, but there was still some glimmer of hope with the new codexes that they would kind of go away from this. Obviously, this is kind of an indicator that it's definitely not a given with at least the other armies.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is.
Agree. Okay, so stratagems, there is a lot of stratagems in this book, of course, because they're making up for the fact that they didn't get a Psychic Awakening.
Right.
So they changed a lot of the other stratagems in the book. Necrons had maybe half a page of really good strats, and then mostly very situational, not good stuff. So they've given a much deeper list of strats that are good. Let's talk about a few that really jump out at me. So one of them is Prismatic Dimensional Breach. Cool. And this is you get to teleport any core unit within 3 inches of a Night Scythe or Monolith, but not in engagement range. Now, you could already do this before to some extent, but a Night Scythe already has the ability to transport a bunch.
Right.
So it's like you've got a Night Scythe up the field with its transport capacity of 20, by the way, in a Night Scythe.
Because they're not actually there, right? They're teleporting through the beamer.
Yeah. So transport capacity of 20, and then you're teleporting another core unit within 3 inches. So like, what just happened here? Like, did you have 2 of them? And so this is great. You get to move, and then you can drop out. So if you have a combat unit,
that's the big thing,
right?
Yeah. It's after the move, which is largely unprecedented, especially with a flyer and something that moves that fast.
You do this in the reinforcement step.
That's great.
So let me tell you something else. Flyers deep strike by default. So flyer deep strikes 9 inch away.
That's so mean.
I get to drop out 3 inches away from this.
What?
So that means I'm deep striking, but coming in with closer than 9 inches. And a core unit could be Lich Guard.
Yeah, totally.
So I can have a 10-man squad of Lich Guard, and I dropped, like, I've read this over and over and over again. I deep strike in with a plane, I'm 9 inches away. Now I'm 6 inches away with the Lich Guard.
That's amazing.
Because you do have to be wholly within 3 inches of the plane.
Sure.
So I can't, like, trail out from it. But man, that's like a weird, interesting trick.
I like it a lot. That's really, really tasty. It's only 1 CP too.
It's only 1 CP.
It's not like, okay, will I, won't I, you'll do it for once in a while. It's 1 CP. That's great. You can make that a core strategy.
You've also got those the new warriors with the short range guns. That's right. Like
everyone made fun of them.
Yeah, you just zoom up and you just like boom, 20 dudes in short range.
Especially if you're master.
40 dudes, Brian.
40.
20 were inside.
Well, not necessarily, because you have to get them within 3 inches. So you could never probably drop all 40.
You let some of them die just to get 30.
That's not legal. I can't find anywhere.
Do that anymore?
I can't find anywhere in the rules where it allows you to set up a partial unit.
Aww.
Yeah, usually they have to specify and say you can set up as many as you can and the rest die. But most of the time they just say nothing now.
Yeah, which is like an exploding tank is I think the only time they mention it.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, the next one, and this one is bonkers. Solar Pulse. This was already a decent strat. Okay, what it used to be is 1 CP.
Yep.
When you were shooting a unit, you ignore their cover.
Cool.
Now, it's 1 CP.
Yep.
You pick a unit, your whole army ignores cover, and it's all effects of cover, including dense and light cover. So
that's a big deal.
It's army-wide for 1 CP.
That's crazy.
Like, cool, I've got my key unit, I bunkered down.
Yeah.
And nope, the whole army's going to ignore it. And you know, maybe I was shooting through dense cover into light cover.
Right.
Like, nope.
Which often happens. It's so devastating. It negates many abilities of many armies, and it negates many just entire tables, right?
Yeah.
So you're now sitting behind the -1. When they shoot you, you're at -1 to hit.
That's right.
But then you just ignore it, shoot straight back through.
And not with 1 unit. Your whole army. 1 CP.
The whole army.
This one you're going to see, like,
too good.
you're going to see this like a lot of turns.
Yes.
So the next one, 2 CP, Storm of Flensing Blades. This is, fight twice with the flayed ones. I think the flayed ones are big winners.
Yeah.
I'm not buying them yet because I'm waiting for the new kit.
Really cool.
But when they come out, I'll get a big blob, maybe even 2 big blobs of them.
Oh, man.
Just because I think they're going to be really cool and crazy. So. They're not like super elite killers, but they have the weight of attacks that they can, like, if you had an elite unit that was kind of cut in half by your shooting, they'll clear the second half out.
And they gained a rend in the new book, too.
They gained a rend, and they have
exploding sixes.
Yeah, they have exploding sixes, so
cool.
They could get the job done.
They're really tasty.
There's a ton of strats in here. You still have extermination protocols, but it's kind of worse. It's only reroll wounds. It used to be hits and wounds, I thought, right? I thought
sure,
I might have. You have the ability to advance and shoot with your Tomb Blades. You still have the ability +1 to hit with all your Triarch Praetorians.
Oh, nice.
Judgment of the Triarch. So Triarch Praetorians, they hit really hard.
Yeah.
They're not core, which is the one thing holding them back.
Yep.
But whatever. This one is an interesting one, Relentless Onslaught. A 6 to hit is an extra hit. This is the old Talent for Annihilation to some extent. But really, do you ever get value out of this? Like with 40, let's say maximum 20-man blob.
Saturday you did.
Not really. I didn't. Like if you got a 20-man blob, they shoot 40 times.
Shots.
Like how many are you really getting? You know what I mean? For 1 CP. And these are still just like strength 4, -1 or -2 AP shots. It helps a bit, but for 1 CP, it sounds better than it really is in the end. Like it might have given you a shooting Space Marines, it might have given you 2 extra wounds or 3 extra wounds at most, sort of thing. And then maybe you got like 1 extra went through or 1.5, you know?
Not thinking positive enough. That's all.
It's one of the things that looks amazing,
no, you're right.
But it's not actually there.
When you actually math it out, it's not that crazy. Yeah.
Now, 2 CP for Entropic Strike.
This is ridiculous.
What does this one do?
Game-changing. Entropic Strike now is 2 CP. Ignore all invulnerable saves with your Catan melee.
That's right.
So you run up, you activate it, and you just punch straight. Demons better watch out.
Anything. Right? Oh my god.
Because it also has decent rend too. So it's no joke.
Every Katana I think has at least a 3.
Yeah, rend. -3 rend. Now ignoring invulns, that's disgusting.
So Entropic Strike used to do this, but for one attack. So if you had 5 attacks, it was only 1 of them.
It was such a joke.
Now it's all of them.
Yeah.
And now the Nightbringer does this by default.
And he ignores Feel No Pains.
Yeah. So, and he's D6 damage -4 AP, strength 14. So, but this is for the Deceiver, the Void Dragon, and the Transcendent.
Yep.
They benefit from this a ton, and it can really make them get the job done. Like, imagine I was coming up against some Harlequin bikes, and I have flat 3 damage.
Oh, it's devastating.
They just go away.
No.
They just go away. So I'm really, really into that one. So there's a couple other like ones you're going to do every game. They're not exciting. Like Rarefied Nobility, you could give up to 2 extra Warlord traits for just 2 CP. So 1 Warlord trait for 1 CP.
Yep.
You're going to do it a lot.
Sure.
Even though the Warlord traits aren't amazing, they level up the characters just enough.
Right.
Or there's one you could just give 2 extra relics, and it's only 1 CP per relic. You're going to end up doing that kind of stuff.
And that's another nice indication of codexes to come. The Space Marine Codex does the same thing. It's 1 CP per, and you can do it twice for 2K games.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I'm tired of paying 3 CP for a relic. And it's like,
so you can see all it, like,
it's more fun.
A lot of the things I'm naming here, I'm really, really, really into Lich Guard. I don't own them yet, but I just bought them.
Oh, okay.
I put them in the cart with the Silent King, so they're coming.
Which weapons are you going to do?
I'm not going to do the Sword and Shield, even though it looks better.
I know, it looks so much better.
But I think I'm
they
going
just don't hit hard enough, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the harder hitting.
Yeah.
And speaking of harder hitting, 1 CP to give them +1 attack. They just have to be within 3 inches of a noble. Now, 3 inches is already character blocking range.
Yeah.
And
that's their whole shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds totally doable.
Yeah.
Right? And you kind of want them with My Will Be Done. So you gave them 2s to hit, and now they went up in attack. So they have 3 base attacks, putting them to 4 base attacks.
And this is one of the big differences between them and Praetorians, right? They're the same kit. There's been a lot of kind of comparisons between them. Praetorians are great, almost too great comparatively, but they're not core. And that kind of balances them out, gives them different roles, and makes Lich Guard really interesting.
I really, really, really think so.
It's well designed, I think.
It's so good. And pair that with the Novak for another +1 attack.
Yeah.
So 2 CP, you're giving them +2 attacks. They have 5 attacks each.
Gosh.
That's a 50 attacks hitting on 2s with the 2. And you could pay another CP for +1 strength on them, and they already have a huge strength. So you could get them down to wounding on 2s.
I'm really excited about Novak in general. I think it's going to be a really, really fun dynasty to play.
Yeah,
honestly.
and then they'd have, when they charge, they'd already be giving them -1 AP, an additional AP on their weapons that already got an AP.
Oh my gosh.
And then on 6s, it's in another AP.
Take that power armor.
Yeah. So now they have this ability to power up and have their strong units do it.
Right.
Like, you charged my Catan? You're dead. You know, my Lich Guard charged you? I don't care what you are, you're dead.
And this is night and day, right? The Necron Codex was known for having terrible stratagems. It was like, cool, you're going to do protocols for the destroyers.
Oh, yeah, right.
And that's pretty much it. If you have Doom Sights.
The laser beam.
The laser beam.
They took that out.
The Night Sights, yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about some missing strats.
Let's talk about the ones that are gone.
There's some strats that are gone. They got rid of amalgamated targeting. So that's the 3 Doom Scythes, pick a spot, do the bomb. I played Tau for a lot of 8th edition, and Tau was all about, like, I have my whole army within a 3-inch range of one another, and I'm like 12 units. And so it was like, boop, and I win.
Right.
And so
there were so many armies. I got wrecked by a last LVO, or not the BAO, because I was playing orcs, and I have support characters.
That's right.
And no matter where I put them, they were just gonna and like erase all the characters.
Yeah.
So it's for the best. It was cool. It was exciting, but it was just.
But it was also bad. It was a feel bad for the Necron player because how often did you go second and lose a plane?
Yeah, it's feel bad for both people.
Yeah.
Either you do your trick and it sucks
loses.
for them, or your cool trick never happens.
Yeah.
And
it was cool. Maybe before they had rule of 3, where you could have like 6 planes, and then it was like, I'm definitely doing this.
That sounds definitely way less fun for the other person. Yeah, thank you, Bridger. So what else is missing?
The Pharaon's Will, this is the ability to do My Will Be Done 1 extra time.
Right.
But they actually replaced it with Hand of the Pharaon, which you upgrade your noble to a Pharaon. Just allows them to do it an extra time every turn. But it's 2 CP, but this probably saves you CP at the end of the day.
Almost certainly. Yeah.
So I did it in our last game, and I did not get my CP back because my character had to go off on his own.
Right.
Because of the secondary. But most of the time, you're going to get your money's worth on that.
The next one I'm really sad about because I'm a big fan of Wraith. This is adaptive subroutines.
Yeah, this is a big one.
This used to let Canoptic units shoot and charge after they advanced.
Yeah.
Wraiths took a lot of hits.
And they could already fall back in charge.
And they could always fall back in charge. So Wraiths already took a lot of hits. Well, we'll talk about that in a bit. But this hurts a lot. They're much less flexible, much less fast and scary.
Yeah.
That just sucks.
Yeah, and
I'm bummed.
It's tough. I really love that. And I think Wraiths, I don't own many Wraiths. Actually, the only reason I own 6 Wraiths is they came in the APOC box that I bought. So I wouldn't have bought any Wraiths because I knew this was coming.
No.
And so I was like, I'm just not going to invest in Wraiths. And they were in the box, so I was like, I'll paint them up. But like,
I have like 12, and I really like the models.
I don't think they're good. Maybe somebody will prove me wrong, but I don't think they're good. They got, as I said, they got rid of the standard fight twice army-wide with Blood Rights. So lots of good strats. We don't need to go through anymore, but if people have questions, maybe this is a good time. Do we have some questions people want to go through?
We do have some questions. Let's do
that.
Q&A.
Let's take some questions.
Thank you, Code of Zero. I will not be around because it's 2 a.m. here in the UK. But I saw someone use the pregame move to get max points on denying the board. Do you think it's a good idea?
That's interesting. This is a secondary we're going to talk in the later half of the show, where you basically have to dominate portions of the board.
Right.
And that's actually interesting because it's a really hard secondary to do.
Well, I think in the right matchup, situationally, that secondary is amazing. So there's a secondary for the Necrons to get 1 victory point per, or is it 2? Is it 2 victory points per table quarter your opponent is not in at the end of every battle round?
The end of your turn.
It's your turn.
So
the end of your feasible.
Yeah.
I think this is amazing. Turn 1, you're guaranteed 4 points.
You cannot score at turn 1.
Never mind. Turn 2.
So you only have 4 turns. You only have 4 turns to score it, and most opponents are already doing engage on all fronts.
Yeah.
And if they're not, they definitely have at least one other secondary. The other problem is that almost every objective is at the center line.
Yeah.
Which means to hold the objective, they might as well be in your side.
Right.
So there is some games where you could keep them at bay. I think the majority you can.
Well, they have to be wholly within the quarter to turn it off.
I know, but they know they need to be.
So this is where the pregame, in my opinion, actually does come into play because you even think like of all our Necron games, you have this warrior blob that's coming up and pushing and pushing, and that's really hard to remove. You know, even more so today. And the earlier you can get up, the sooner you can actually be pushing that, actually keeping them out. In our game, I was having a tough time getting into at least one of your table quarters, just because of bodies. Like I could fight stuff, I could kill stuff. So like, I think it's an interesting way to maybe make this secondary more viable.
Yeah.
I'm generally skeptical, but
the 6-inch. Okay, so the secondary, I'm very skeptical, but that 6-inch move is interesting because that's as much as you already move as an army.
Right.
So it gives you, it makes turn 2 happen on turn 1.
Right.
So it gets you into half range on turn 1.
Well, the other thing is like,
it's a big deal.
I love jump troops. Why? Because they're infantry that can move 12 inches in a turn, right? Yeah. You want to be able to get up, again, do early game actions like raising banners and things like that. That's really hard to do without advancing for most armies, these guys included. But with the 6-inch, you just go another 6 or even sometimes 7.
Yeah.
Get within that objective, do that action.
Exactly.
You're done. You're on point.
Really good for raising those banners turn 1. What's next?
All right. Thank you, Jordan. Do you think you'll
Dang.
see a change to cult ambush for the Genestealer cult, similar to how it used to be, and then maybe a 2 CP strat to force do something?
I definitely see sweeping changes coming, but I don't know what.
That army has so many rules. It felt like it was like almost trying to be a 9th edition army.
Yeah.
But not quite.
If only.
They should, they need to change it quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And thank you again, Jordan.
Thanks.
Synapse on Tyranids, perhaps +1 attack and fearless. Thoughts on how instinctive behavior will work in the new codex? More punishing, but also more
I think
rewarding.
like this, command protocols.
Cool. Yeah.
Right? You get all these special abilities when you're within range. I think we're going to see something exactly like that. Like if you're within Synapse range, you'll get different abilities.
Right.
Things
I
like
think
that.
it'll be more like that. Like
That's my guess.
I don't think they'll be more punishing, right? If anything, they might tone down some stats that you regain and buff up when you're within Synapse. But it's definitely not the direction that GW has been going, which is why it's in such an awkward place. It's like, oh, do you even know what your unit actually would do if it's an instinctive behavior? A lot of times you don't.
Synapse should be like when you're in Synapse, it should be a buff.
Right.
It's not like when you're out of Synapse, it's a
you
negative.
need it to just,
you know what I mean?
play your army.
Just to, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Thank you, Marco. This is for listing Dark Angels as chaos on your Discord. Little things like these make being a grown-up suck less for a little bit.
Thanks so much. I'm glad you appreciate it.
You have Bridget to thank for the snark. But we all have fun with it. It's all in good fun.
It was like a delayed... It was like a ticking time bomb, delayed gratification in like 10 different places. Because different people found out in different channels at different times. And just
I know there's some people who just hate this joke. And it's
like it's so old.
And Bridger never gets old for him. He just loves it every time. It cracks him up.
It's
every
so
time.
good.
Like if you ever meet Bridger, just tell him something about Dark Angels being chaos, and you'll just get him. You'll
yes.
It makes me happy that makes Bridger happy.
That's right. That's what. Yeah, it makes us happy that he's happy.
Thank you, Nick. Blood Angels FAQ relic Biomantic sarcophagus with Null Zone and Psychic Fortress. Is that a 12-inch aura?
Yeah, that's the plus for auras.
However, I will note this.
Right.
Null Zone now turns off your own invulns as well. So that combination would do nothing.
The Psychic Fortress. Well, what it would do is just turn off all invulns.
And so this relic actually works on psychic powers because the one in the core Space Marine book says specifically not psychic.
That's right, which means they might actually change this one to be in line with the other one.
So yeah, so generally speaking, I wouldn't count on that.
So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, do you want to do? Let's do one more.
One more. Thank you again, Jordan. Hey guys, can you check the Apothecary? I'm being told it's only 0 CP once per battle. Is this correct? Love the show and best content and energy.
Don't think so. What you can do is I'll definitely check it out. You can hop in the Discord and we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll jump in the Discord. We don't. The book's at your house or something, right?
It's around somewhere, but yeah.
All right, let's keep going. So next up, we're going to talk about some Warlord traits.
Cool.
Now, none of the Warlord traits screamed at me. In the last book, you had Immortal Pride. And Immortal Pride was this idea of 6 inches you're immune to morale, which was kind of crucial.
Yeah, it was.
Morale isn't as punishing as it was before because now when you reanimate, any model that comes back doesn't count towards morale.
Thank God.
So, and you already have
like minus 100.
Yeah, and you already have leadership 10.
Yeah.
Right? So morale isn't actually that bad for this army, but they do still have Immortal Pride. You ignore all minuses to combat attrition. Yeah. Which maybe that'll become, we've been talking, maybe that'll become a thing later, right?
Exactly. I think it's not as much of a factor now, but it will be later on. Space Marines ignore it. There's still also ways to actually modify it, even within this army. Yeah. So definitely something that's kind of looking forwards.
Yeah. One of the ones that does jump out, probably this is the one I like the most. Like if I'm playing Novak, right, I'm going to take Implacable Conqueror. This is an aura of reroll charges within 6 inches.
That's great.
Right? I already got +1 to charge. Now I'm rerolling charges, especially I'm coming in from reserve. I'm really into this one.
That's a really powerful buff. In a world in which buffs in general, like aura buffs, are becoming more scarce.
Yeah, put this on a Scorpec Lord and just run everyone in. Really, really great. Of course, the classic hyper-logical strategist is still here. That's a Sawtech one. Gives you 5 up on every command point spent. So it's great. Why not?
Right.
This one's interesting. The Triarch's Will. This is a Caesarean only. And you get to pick the same command protocol twice before the game.
Wait, what?
So you can make the same command protocol active in 2 turns in a row.
But this is also with the Silent Kings faction?
This is the Silent Kings faction.
So you could have it 3 times?
Yeah, I guess so. So they just have pure control over the protocols.
That's nuts. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that they're okay. You see some of these are good. There's one of the classics is Enduring Will to -1. Yes. And okay, you put on your Scorpec Lord, you put on your whatever. It's okay. Especially with Living Metal. Yeah. It's a nice combo. It's not game shaking.
If you have those tanky characters, which I guess are not as common, but then it's 1 CP, right? Yeah. So it's still good. It'll save you rerolling.
I can't put Warlord traits on my Catan.
Yeah. Otherwise, you would totally oh my God.
Or now we'd be talking.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fine.
There's another one for +3 inch to your range. It's okay. Whatever.
And 12 inches for troops.
Yeah.
Warriors, basically. Yeah.
So okay, let's talk about relics. Cool. The relics also, in my mind, nothing screams at me. The Warlord traits and relics don't scream at me. The Veil of Darkness is still there.
Yep.
And if you don't remember, this allows you to put it on a character. You teleport the character and a unit within 6 inches. and then they have to land somewhere within 6 inches.
The one downside is this is now locked to core units only. So no, you can't pick up Praetorians or Destroyers or things like that. It's Immortals.
Everyone used to do it, right? So I can't do it with Scorpec Destroyers. I can't do it with normal Locust Destroyers. Cool. So I'm picking up Warriors here. I'm picking up Immortals. Or Lich Guard. Lich Guard's another good decision, especially with a +1 to charge and reroll charges. Right now we're in
so good.
We're doing a thing. We got a thing going.
I also like the Sautek specific one, Vanquisher's Mark. And this is it's basically the Judiciary's ability. It's a 3 inches, fight last, cannot be activated.
Pick a unit, fight last.
Yep.
Amazing ability.
It's great. It's really great. I mean, you need the stuff on a character where you kind of have that extra mobility. Put them up in front. They're untargetable. Make sure that the opponent either has to make a longer charge to get past this terrifying defense, or they're actually going to be in it and get hit by it.
You could basically, you could almost make a you could build column, like a column, and then put your character in the center.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's cool, and that's Sautek only again.
That's a Sautek only, which it's still great, and Sautek's good. We're gonna play Sautek soon. And it'll be solid.
Classic.
So okay, let's put up a sample character. It's a Scorpec Lord. I love the Scorpec Lord.
That's so cool.
Because they actually do fight. Yeah. They're a little quick. So cool. You give him Enduring Will. This is -1. He already has a bunch of wounds. -1 damage on him. Solid. A lot of things are damage too. So you take him with that damage 1. He's got the 4-up invuln, and then he's got Living Metal. You give him the Vanquisher's Mask for fight last. Now all of a sudden you want to charge and duel him.
Right.
He's gonna get you.
That's awesome.
Or he's up with his Protectorate units. And I think this is an example of something you're going to see.
Every time you put him on the board, he always does work, right?
He does.
He's terrifying. He gets in there, he smashes things.
And
he's not that easy to kill.
Never dies.
No. Well, except for that one game against the Stormlord. Overwatch. But in every other game, he's been a pain to kill. Super tough, super scary, super killy. So I really like it. And I'm glad. I was worried with the codex that he would be like this kind of weird character that didn't have a place, but he's like the only real beat stick other than the Catans, right?
Well, you saw I also built a beat stick, which was out of my Catacomb Command Barge with the War Scythe.
That's another cool thing.
With the Void Reaper. I don't have that example here, but if you check out our game from last Saturday, I made another fighty character out of a Catacomb Command Barge, and he was actually kind of scary.
I was totally terrified.
He was wrecking, and he could have done much more if I played him a little differently, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I think that let's talk about the Cryptex. Cryptex are one of the biggest things that have changed. There are many new types of Cryptex. So there used to be just Cryptek.
Right.
Now there's 4 kinds of Cryptex. Do you know what the 4 kinds are?
Oh gosh.
This is the test.
Is this the test?
It's a pop quiz.
So you got the Chronomancer.
Correct.
That's the traditional one. The Psychomancer.
Psychomancer.
The Plasmancer.
Plasmancer. Oh, can you get all 4?
The Minimancer.
The Technomancer. The Technomancer. So so there's 4. Now there's only 3 up on screen.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the Plasmancer. So the Plasmancer has the ability to do like a smite, and then he has an aura around him where he can do mortal wounds on a 4-up within 6 inches.
Sure.
Just doesn't work for me.
He's not cheap enough for what he does.
Not cheap enough.
It's not even that you want to spam him. He's just not cheap enough to win with one.
So Cryptex are all pretty interesting. You used to be able to take 1 Cryptek though.
Sure.
And the 1 Cryptek would buff your reanimation.
Right.
And then you'd give out an aura with the Chromatron of 5-up invulnerable saves
against shooting
within 3 inches.
Yep.
So he would dramatically change your armor.
It was gross,
right?
Yeah.
He was like an instant take every time. Chromatron, you got the dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, not so much anymore. So if you're taking the Chronomancer, he still has a Chromatron, and he picks 1 unit within 9. Now it's any unit.
That's cool.
So it's not just your infantry, not just troops. It's your monolith.
Yep.
It's your Doomsday Arcs. They already have a 5, so don't do that. But it's your Scorpec destroyers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's anything, and it's 9 inches, so it's a lot easier to get it on the unit you want, and that's okay. But that's basically. Oh, he also gives reroll charges to that unit. So you throw it on. You throw it on a Scorpec unit, 6-man Scorpec destroyers.
Yeah.
Cool. They've got a 5-up now, and now they reroll charges.
That's cool. And something to note. One of the big questions when I opened the book was, how has Oricon changed? Right? Is he still better? Things like that. Largely, he's brought in line with them. Nothing special as far as the Chronomatron. His was a 6-inch. Now it's the same. So yeah, you're really taking these. It's not an auto take. You're taking them if you have big units or expensive units that you want that invul on. Yeah. That you're going to be kind of throwing out there, right?
Well, it's nice also that they give out these auras for your protocols and things like that.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, as I said, you take let's say you've got your Veil of Darkness, as I said with that Scorpec Lord that I talked about. Cool. You give 5 up invuln and a reroll charge.
So you can
now you teleport them.
I was going to ask about that.
Right now you teleport them, and now you've got a 8-inch rerollable charge.
That's cool.
And then once they get up in there, they've got their invulnerable save. Now, okay, we just did a thing. That was cool.
I like it. And it's different too, right? The other ability was amazing, but it was also really boring and really unfun
and it
for
forced a certain play style.
Yeah,
too.
you're like, here's my 40, 60 warriors, and they're all 5 up in ball and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, cool, that's
okay,
not fun.
so that's the Chronomancer. The Technomancer has that ability to improve reanimation. So what he does is 6 inches. He can basically res a model within 6 inches. So you lost it's only a core model though. So, so you lost
any model, but it's core?
Yeah, I think it's just a core. Yeah, I'll double check after, but I think it's just core. So you pick like a Lich Guard, and he's back. Great. You could also revive D3 warriors instead.
Okay.
And what he does is pick. He gives +1 to hit to all Canoptic units within 6 inches.
Right. So
that's his combination.
It sounds great. But
we'll
the one downside is Canoptic units have basically lost a weapon skill and a ballistic skill.
Yeah.
So your wraiths and things like that are hitting on 4s. So you need this to bring them back up to what they were. So that's a bummer. But having said that, if you want to run Canoptic heavy army, you're going to want to take that Technomancer, get them buffed up.
Yeah. So he does. It is only a core unit within 6 inches.
Why would they?
So basically, the most value you're going to get out of that is like a Tomb Blade. Or a Lich Guard.
Right.
It's not like you're not bringing a Scorpack Destroyer back, right?
That makes me sad.
So okay, you see what I mean? They're just like it's not that exciting.
That's just
if you're playing, if you wanted to play a bunch of Canoptic units, it's an auto take.
Yeah.
And you have the shooting Canoptic units, which you want them down to getting to 3. You've got the Canoptic Doomstalker, which is basically this walker here,
this is my favorite
just with like the big gun on top.
Yeah.
And cool, that's great, but you know, hitting on a 4 is not good, so you're going to need this boy. The next one is the Psychomancer, and the Psychomancer is my favorite of them all.
He's cool.
And he has an endless slew of abilities. But basically, okay, so he has a 6-inch aura of -1 leadership and -1 combat attrition.
Nice.
So if he's in range when you really need to take a morale test, he could hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
6 inches though. Oh my.
That's the biggest problem with him.
Yeah,
and even as you talk about his other abilities, there's too short of a range for what they do.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one, 12 inches.
Cool.
Pick a unit.
Yeah.
3d6 beat their leadership.
Oh.
So far it's okay.
Yep.
And then you get to pick an ability. Now these abilities are pretty solid. You can half their advance and charge.
Nice.
The problem is you're already within 12.
Right.
So unless they're going the other way, like unless you teleported behind them and they're going forward, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. Now you could remove their obsec.
That's money right there.
That's money.
That's great.
And that is 12-inch range is the right range for that.
Right.
Because you're already going to be up that midboard with them. So I'm already really into that.
Turning off obsec does nothing unless you also have things on the objective. So there you go.
There's a Fight Last.
That's cool.
It's kind of good.
That is really
There's
good.
also an No Overwatch, which again, a bunch of flamer aggressors.
Yup.
You kind of need it.
So the reason I like that ability especially is because you can pick it.
What a toolbox.
It's such a toolbox. There's so many abilities that do turn off Overwatch, but they're in a relic or a psychic power or whatever, and you can't pick those at the table anymore. This is an amazing toolbox to help the rest of your army. Plus, let's be honest, it's like a really dope model.
Yes. So the next thing to talk about is they all have this thing called Cryptek Arcana next. And Cryptek Arcana is the ability to basically take a relic that's just for Crypteks, but you pay points for them.
Yeah, makes sense.
There's a list, and some of them are like faction locked, or not, like they're Cryptek locked.
Yeah.
And so you'll see in our last game, I had one that was, I think, 25 points, and it allowed my Psychomancer to do a smite.
Took him to the
but
next level.
But it's a targeted smite.
That's crazy.
Right? That was actually okay.
25?
It was 25 points,
that's great.
I think.
Yeah.
So that's okay. There's another one here. Hypermaterial Albator? Okay. Give a unit within 9. Okay. Give cover to any unit within 9 inches from attacks outside of 12. So, like, if I have one of my units, I just give it cover as long as you're shooting outside of 12.
It's the old stealthy.
It's the old stealthy, yeah.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. Especially, you know, warriors need it. They're only 4-ups. You can't fit that entire blob in cover.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to consistently get that cover.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff. There's another one that allows you to make your character untargetable unless it's the nearest. So
old character targeting?
But it's like for what? Like, what are you doing with it exactly? I don't know.
It's a really expensive deep strike denier, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
So these guys are really complicated. A lot of interesting rules. Overall, I think they kind of fall short.
A little too pricey.
That's all.
Honestly,
it is, really.
I want you to take 20 points from all of them.
Yeah. Well, it's two things.
Like a third. I want you to cut them to.
That's right.
I want you to cut them by a third.
They're too pricey, and they're HQs. right? So the second Plasmancer, the second Mancer that you take, the Cryptek, it does not take up a slot. Well, by that point, I've already lost something that's probably more valuable. So that actually hurts a lot.
So that is the thing. You can take 2 for 1 slot.
Right, which is
basically.
Like, well,
it's a start.
Yeah.
It's something, but it's not my favorite.
I wish it was just they would take up no slots if you took something else that was also useful. Kind of do that way of unlocking. But it is what it is. So
let's talk about some of the units.
Let's do it.
We'll talk about some of the big units and some of the things that have changed. So your main warriors, they just have a new gun type.
Sure.
It's okay with Mephrit.
Yeah. This is the super short one.
Yeah, it's Assault 14.
Yes.
Right?
It's Assault 2 at 14 inches.
Assault 2 at 14, so, and it has an extra strength. It's Strength 5.
That's right.
And that's okay. I think we need to test play it more to see if we can get it into range often enough. We haven't tried it yet, though.
It's a really, really wonky gun, right? Because you're basically, compared to the regular Gauss,
it's
you're
a
getting
12.
more
Sorry,
shots.
I knew I was saying it wrong.
It's
at 12? Yeah. It's an Assault 2 at 12.
Oh, they changed that from Indominus.
They changed it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they changed it from Indominus. That's right.
That makes it much worse.
The relic, or the Cryptek relic thing that makes a character untargetable, can that be used on Catan?
No. Catan cannot have relics, and this is a Cryptek only.
And it only affects the bear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question.
Because that would have been nuts.
That would have been unreasonable. Yeah.
See if they're 12 inches. Makes me nervous.
It's not great.
Makes them playable again.
It takes them up to 15. Yeah. And Assault 15 is already the range. It's further than the range you were trying to shoot 2 shots with your other shot, but you're not going to be within half to get your extra AP. So you're going to get within range, just not within half. But you already have 2 AP on this, which is what you were trying to get to with the other gun.
Makes sense.
So you're okay. It's like a wash.
That's so
weird.
What I'm saying? Yeah.
We're going to need to test play it some more.
We do.
The Immortals, they got +1 toughness.
Yeah, all those bigger, chunkier bodies.
Anyone that's wearing the big shoulders really got the +1 toughness.
Not warriors, not flayed ones, but the kind of more elite infantry.
Yeah, the Lich Guard got an extra attack. So 2 to 3 attacks, but they're still, like, they're strength 7, 2 damage, -4, and for 1 CP I could boost their strength to strength 8. So they're Marine killers. Absolutely Marine killers.
And that's why you like the non-sword and
war
version. Yeah, because those are only damage 1, the swords are damage 1, the sides take them to damage 2, which is like
if these were Blade Guard veterans and you were giving me my shield, or my sword and shield, and my sword still did 2 damage, that would be something, but nah. The 4-up invulnerable save and the add 1 to saving throws, so they get
get the new rule.
Yeah, they get the standard Storm Shield rule, so they do have a 4-up invul and a 2-up save, but they're not Blade Guard. They do not have a 2 damage sword.
Right.
If you gave me the Blade Guard with them, I'd be into it all day.
They're purely defensive, and the question is then what are you trying to do with that, right? You need to have a very specific rule in mind for your list. Yeah,
but they're one of the only combat units.
Yeah.
They are, I'm going to go so far as to say the only combat unit with core.
Yeah.
Because flayed ones don't have core. And speaking of flayed ones, they did get +1 AP. They got 6 to hit an extra hit, and they've got a -2 AP aura. Or -2 leadership aura. I'm sorry, not AP aura. Whoa.
The Gauss Reaper is also assault now instead of rapid fire.
That's what I'm saying. They switched it from rapid fire. No, it was rapid fire.
It was rapid fire 14,
and then they switched it to an assault 12. So it's better.
Okay.
It's just purely better.
Yeah.
But it's still iffy.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Is it still worth it? Yeah.
Yeah, again.
That has to be your strategy.
That has to be your strategy. Like
so
coming
specific.
In, the army is already good at close range. This is. I like the plus strength, to be honest with you. The strength 5 is good. Like it's how with my fire wars, I'm used to that.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to having any AP, so I'm good. I'll take it.
That's fair.
And I'm not used to coming back from the dead. It's like it's all good. So the problem, I really wish there was more combat core. That's the thing that really hurts this book.
Yeah. Is
all the great combat stuff other than Lich Guard are not core.
Yeah, the Wraiths, the Destroyers, the other Destroyers.
The flayed ones.
Praetorians. Yeah. Praetorians are weird because they're not even Dynasty, right?
That's right.
They're kind of like Scourge and those other mercenary units.
Exactly, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so okay, so the Triarch Stalker,
Don't go there.
I'm actually really into the Triarch Stalker.
Yeah.
He has 3 damage in combat. Almost all of his weapons got better. And he still has the ability to give reroll 1s to your army, so I'm really into him. I just ordered one of him yesterday as well, because I didn't have one before.
No.
And I like the look of him.
We were hoping he'd get better, and he did.
He's a very iconic looking unit for the army. So I'm really into him. Wraiths, unfortunately, they don't have a 3-up invulnerable save, and they lost 1 weapon skill.
And they cannot fall back in charge?
They can still fall back in charge.
Okay.
They cannot advance in charge. And they did get +1 attack for their trouble. So if you end up getting them up the field with your Technomancer, they technically hit better. Right?
Yeah.
But the 3-up is kind of their thing, right?
Yeah.
Without their 3-up, I think it's really hard to make them work.
I'm interested to try them as Nihilok. because then they'll be obsec,
right?
And they can be fast bullies, kind of pushing up the objective in ways that many units can't.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's
still a 4+ invuln.
It's still 4+. It's something.
Do I sound like I'm trying to convince myself?
Yeah, you do. So the Doomsday Arcs and Ghost Arcs, one of the nice things is they all got +1 armor save. So all these vehicles used to be armor save 4.
Yes.
They're all down to 3 now.
Oh, finally.
That's
good.
There was no reason they should have been.
We
4
needed that.
before.
We needed that. And the other thing is that the quantum shielding makes them better than they were before.
Tough because they're also they're T6, but now with quantum shielding they're more like T8 or something.
They're more like T8 against key weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you try to hit them with plink damage, you have the better armor save now.
Yep.
So it's all good.
Quantum's actually really nice because one of my favorite things to shoot at them, especially with quantum and the new armor, was things like autocannons. Winning on 3s, the -1 AP does a lot. Now they're really not great against them. So that's cool.
Exactly. The Night Scythe, I'm really interested in the Night Scythe. I actually just bought 2 of those last night.
Wow. This is like contrary to, he was like, I'm not going to use the flyers, I don't like them. But now with the new book, what do they do?
They just transport better, and all their weapons actually got better. So all the weapons just hit a little bit harder.
Right.
And the transport is interesting because the units are actually deadly up close. And I think I'm really interested in the transporting and the translocation abilities.
Especially from Efrit, yeah.
I think I can do lots. I don't care for all of them. Novak, for everyone.
With the strat, Novak is amazing.
Yeah, I can do tricks with all of these. So I'm definitely into them.
That's cool.
You know, the funny thing is I'm actually really into the Obelisk as well. Okay, it has this wacky ability. Hovering Sentinel. In your movement phase, if it remains stationary, then until the start of your next movement phase, all of its Tesla spheres, which it has 4 of them, have a type of 6 shots instead of 4. And then a strength characteristic of 8 instead of 7. And a damage characteristic of 2 instead of 0. So
wait, 0? It had 0 damage?
Sorry, 1 damage. It's 0 AP.
Right, it actually heals you.
Okay, so this is
So plants.
This is 24 shots.
Yeah.
At strength 8, AP 0, 2 damage, and 6s count as 3 hits.
That's very Night Spinner of you.
That's a lot of shots, no AP. But okay, I could still get in half.
That's
and if I'm Mephrit or something, I'm still gonna melt you, you know? Or I could be in the dynasty that I'm within half and getting it on 6s or something like that. So it actually, like, that'll wipe a lot of boys.
That's pretty cute, actually.
That'll get your Space Marines off the board. Now it has to stand still, but I don't care. It's kind of cool.
I just imagine like plants and like the disco ball comes at the front and all the laser beams start shooting everywhere.
That's right. It is a party. It's a party bus.
Protocols engaged. Party protocols. the bass, like, can you imagine the bass on that thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
the whole battlefield shaking. And Necrons are like, all right.
It has that ability. It's called Gravity Pulse.
Yes.
I was like, I knew it's on here somewhere.
Right next to Ticket to the Bridge.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
And yeah, drop the bass. That's right.
Well, that's cool, because that's a gorgeous model.
Yeah, it is a billion points.
The Obelisk, voted by the community at large the worst unit in the game.
Was it?
It was.
Oh, no way.
It was. This was the, someone did a really fun poll.
I've never seen one on the table.
Me neither.
I've only seen Tesseract Vaults.
This is the closed version. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I didn't buy this because it was out of stock. I tried to buy it.
Everyone wants one.
I tried to put it in my cart yesterday because I was like, I want the Transcendent Catan.
Right.
And then it was like out of stock. And I was like, fine, I guess I won't. I won't make foolish decisions.
You wanted the lampshade?
I was like, no, it's the Obelisk. You're talking about the test. Oh, like it's the same kit, but I was gonna.
Yeah,
build
I think
it.
the Obelisk is.
I was gonna build an Obelisk out of it.
It's such a cool kit. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of. And so, okay, let's talk about this new unit, the Convergence of Dominion.
Yes.
It's this really rad looking.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, like it's 3 like Necron pylons basically.
You can make great terrain with it.
Yeah, it gives out an aura. Its main ability is core units.
Cool.
So not even everybody.
Oh, every time I hear it gets worse.
Within 6 inches, you add 2 to the leadership. So cool. I go to leadership 12 on core. So it's not. I can't even give it to like my my
Your
Catan.
Praetorians even.
I can't even give it to my Catan and then use the psychic power based on leadership or something. Like,
oh man.
there's no stacking or anything.
Yeah.
And that's it. All of its other rules are just rules that allow it to move because it has no movement.
They're real tough.
And it's like really hard to move. You know what I mean? Yeah, real tough. Okay. Does it shoot? Yeah, kind of.
It's 30 wounds at tough 8.
It's 30 wounds at tough 8. Yes.
But it's wounds that just take up space on the battlefield.
How many points is it?
150. So it's 50
How big
points.
are they? Like, can I just like make a wall?
But they don't hold objectives.
It's 150
But
point
could
wall?
you just wall off something?
I'm trying to find some use for this thing.
You're trying to find
Does it
some
explode?
cheese use because definitely you can't play it normally.
Why does it lead? Okay, so
If
you
it
don't ignore
explodes-
leadership anymore. You still have to take morale. So like, I guess, but like, why? How is that the only and primary ability, basically?
Yeah.
What?
It's really, really not good. I don't know. I'm so
What a
sorry,
shame.
everyone.
It's such a cool model.
Yeah.
Get your Necron train. We should get some for our board. But...
Yeah. So it's not going to get the job done, but we'll buy some and we'll use them as terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so there is also another change in the book, which is they've created this. They fleshed out the destroyer cults.
Yeah.
Right. So now you have the old destroyers are called Hexmark, or not Hexmark. They're called Locust. I keep screwing that up. They're called Locust destroyers, and now there's the heavy variety, which there's always been, and the classic. And the heavy variety's weapons are pretty scary now. They are. So I love them.
I like 3d3 damage guns.
Yeah, 3d3 damage gun, strength 10. Oh, I'm into it. So now, of course, you have the Scorpec destroyers. You have the Ophidian destroyers, which are basically the exact same as the Scorpec. Yeah. They're just faster and less durable.
Well, they can deep strike, and they have a strat to redeploy. So I think they're most interesting as Novak.
Yes,
most of the time you're just like, cool, faster. And
all the combat units are most interesting as Novak, anyways.
Yeah.
And then you have the Hexmark destroyer, who is the new character sniper, and I don't know how to use him because he's basically 6 shots, 1 damage, no AP, or
no AP.
No AP, 1 damage.
Guard characters, Brian.
Yes. So I'm gonna assassinate your
they might be -1.
Astropath.
Maybe they're -1.
I'll assassinate your Astropath.
Imagine the Kellermorph, but way worse.
What if the Kellermorph wasn't broken?
What if they lobotomized the Kellermorph and he became a robot?
Yeah, that's right. This was a Kellermorph.
But they also took away his guns and
it is
-1
AP. It is -1.
Okay, it's -1 for 1 damage. Kellermorph is 2 damage.
And so you would need the Mephrit to get into the damage range.
And you have to kill a model
in order to get another shot. Yeah, that's right.
So it's really you're killing Grots.
Yeah,
you can kill Grots with this guy.
And he's ballistic skill 2. He ignores all modifiers. He overwatches on 2s, but he's still not killing anything. You know what I mean?
It's
so. I don't know what to do with this.
He's the Necron tickle monster.
There's a horrible thing you could do where you could give him this relic, which is a conflagration pistol.
I'm listening.
It's a pistol that is 12 inches, I think. It's a relic, and you roll once for every model in the unit. On a 6, it takes a mortal wound. So if you were up against hordes, which nobody's taking anymore, you could do the business.
You can get 2 shots with that. Because I assume it only replaces 1 pistol.
No. The rule? No, it doesn't replace a pistol. It's a pistol in addition.
He gets a 7th
pistol. So nothing to do with him at all.
No.
Okay.
Nothing to do with him.
Pistol.
It fits his theme of more pistols than you thought.
He's got all his arms, and he finishes firing, and then another one pops up from the back and shoots a flare gun.
Yeah. His chest opens up, and the last pistol comes out.
Yes.
Oh man.
So
it's such a cool model.
So go and do that little trick on somebody for some reason, and he could do the thing where he teleports in, like Deathmarks could, with a stratagem.
Yeah.
Whatever. And like I said, Deathmarks, anything with that big shoulder pad, they got the extra toughness. Deathmarks did.
Deathmarks got the.
They got buffed all the way around.
Their gun got better.
Strength, extra strength, extra ren. Yeah.
2 damage now, I think.
It's 1 damage. Get
1
out
damage
of here.
now.
If they were 2 damage, I'd be talking.
They're not. They're not Space Marine snipers.
That's what they should.
So that's okay. That's most of the units. Let's talk next about the Catan.
Should we?
Right.
Yep.
The Catan saw a number of improvements. Not only is there one new Catan, which is the Void Dragon, one of the most epic-looking models. They haven't announced the release date for that, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I take my money meme. I want that dude.
Yeah, it's such a sick model. Very, very, very
And
cool.
he actually he's good at killing vehicles, but he's just good. He's not bad.
Yeah, they're all great.
But these guys are a lot of points. 350 points for your average Catan. They're a beat stick now.
So what might make you pay that price?
Yeah, why would you pay so much?
Well, let me tell you. So there's a couple key rules that really make these guys ticks. Number 1, Necrodermis, right? This grants them the 4+ invuln.
Yep.
Cool, nothing new. But they also cannot lose more than 3 wounds in a single phase.
Ooh.
Amazing.
That's really, really, really good. Yeah. And they have living metal to regain a wound.
That's right.
The Void Dragon can regain even more wounds for killing vehicles.
Exactly.
So very, very durable.
Now let me calm you down though, before you get too excited.
All right.
They do have 9 wounds, so they normally would be able to be.
Oh, no character targeting.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
Is this the new chaos demon player style? No, they have a special rule that says they do not benefit from lookout sirs.
That's right.
So they can be targeted. Silver lining is they have fly. They're fast. You can be behind buildings.
Yes.
The old models are quite small.
The old ones are very small. But they can still be obscured.
They're obscurable, and they move fast. So, even in the first game we played them, you were fine. You were just hiding behind stuff. You popped up. By the time I could target you, you were doing your stuff anyway.
So that's kind of the thing. You hope to get him into combat without taking a single wound.
Yep.
And then what are they going to do? Okay, they'll take 3 from him, and then you get 1 more turn of doing it.
Right.
And then they took 3 more from him.
The worst is you living metal, and then you offset it, and now I suddenly take 2 more phases to actually kill him. It's
right.
great. They did get another wound. They got more attacks.
Yeah, they're 9 wounds each.
Yep.
They're all T7. They almost all got an extra attack.
Yep.
And oh my, they're so scary.
They're all better at doing what they do, right? So
all the powers got better too.
Just flat better. The Deceiver was my favorite. Just let you redeploy him and D3 units. Now it's just flat 3 units.
That's right.
So much better, so much more reliable. I hope my Orc or Trade gets the same treatment.
Yeah.
And the Nightbringer. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Briefly.
The Nightbringer. Okay, so the Nightbringer has a base ability to drain life, which is you can't take any feel no pains or anything against him. Great. His base attacks, 6 attacks. He has 1 more than all the others. So 6 attacks on him. What is this? This is weapon skill, of course, 2. Strength 14 with no minuses to hit. Okay.
Cool.
So that's basically 6 hits, or let's say 5. We'll say 5 hits and 5 wounds, pretty much. So strength 14 -4, and that -4 is particularly interesting because you cannot take invulnerable saves against him. You do not even have to pay the CP, and then he's flat. He's D6 damage.
So gross.
And if you don't want to do that, you could do his Reaping profile instead, which you make 2 attacks for every attack, so you take him up to 12 attacks.
Whoa.
At strength 7 -3 for 1 damage. That's
just guess I'll die.
So much it's so much utility, because you could do either with him, and as you said, he's actually a small model. I'm trying to buy, Creature Caster has made a version of him.
You saw it.
Also sold out. Trying to buy that last night too. Creature Caster, let us know. Hook us up.
That's right. We'll feature it on the show. We might even pay for it.
I tried to pay you for it. Okay, but the Void Dragon also attacks. He's got 5 attacks.
All right.
Okay. So let's just we're going to use his spear, which also shoots. It's a las cannon.
Of course.
It shoots as
it's a las cannon in a line.
Yeah. It's a line las cannon.
Oh, it's like the lantern.
Yeah. So he's strength 9, -4 D6 damage, and against a vehicle, it's D3 +3 damage. And of course, I can just ignore invulns on this too for 2 CP, right? And for any vehicle model I destroy, I roll a D6, and on a 2-up, I gain lost wound. So I just plink an extra wound back.
That's cool.
It's really great.
It's really cool.
And if you're feeding me little, if there's a squad of vehicles, right? Like you imagine there's AdMech have lots of squads of vehicles.
We're Depcopters.
Yeah, I could just eat them all up and regain 3 wounds.
Yeah.
So we have the Tickle Monster, and now we have
the Cookie Monster.
The Cookie Monster.
It's vehicles. So there's no limit on that?
To 3, max 3.
Okay, still. Jeez.
It's 2. 3 is how many he took this turn.
Yeah, I was
that is already taking him to full. So I'm really into these guys, and their powers are great.
They're nuts.
Right?
Yeah.
And the mortal wounds we've proven with so many more things like Terminators on the board, so many more Storm Shields on the board.
You made me very sad that
we need these mortal wounds.
You do, yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to be leaving home without these guys too often.
It's so funny because in the world of losing smite abilities and things like that, we're seeing less mortals. And here come the Necrons, and they're just like, hey, what's up? We've got all these ways of generating them. They're not deniable. All the powers just go off. They're amazing. Yeah. Really, really scary.
Yeah.
And just all gorgeous models.
Okay, so the next one here, we're going to be talking about core units. Core units is an enormous change to 9th edition.
Sure.
So only now, all of a sudden, all the facts that came out today, a lot of things have core keyword, right? They changed.
Yeah.
They added core keyword to a bunch of things. But this book, I feel punished by core keyword here. Whereas the Space Marine book, it's almost like you felt relieved by the core keyword. I felt punished here.
Exactly. I was like, oh, you had to be core. And then I was like, oh, wait, everything's core.
Yeah.
With Necrons, it's the opposite, right?
A lot of stuff is not core.
So all of the destroyer cults,
everything
the
destroyer,
canoptic units,
everything canoptic.
The Praetorians, obviously, because they're independent.
Yeah, the flayed ones, all the vehicles, and then the Catan, and then of course all your characters. So whereas the Space Marines, it was like 80% plus of the book was core. Yeah. In this case, it's almost like 40% is 50% is core.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it's the combat build that gets hurt. Because all my destroyers, all my Praetorians, all my flayed ones, all my Catan, all the combat units are not core.
Yep.
Only Lichguard made it in as core. And that's a shame because let me tell you what core does for you in this game. My Will Be Done is only on core. Such a powerful ability. And I was feeling the pain of that. My character was out of range of my core units. I was in range of other units, but I couldn't use it. So that hurt. The Lord's Will, which is the ability to, it used to be the ability to reroll 1s to wound. Now it's reroll 1s to hit. Okay, that's core as well. Pretty much every Silent King ability is core, right?
Oh
so his reroll hits and his reroll wounds, that's only core and Praetorians. So Praetorians get brought into the fold with the Silent King only. The Warden ability to fall back and shoot, that's core.
Core only.
The Relentless March for the +1 move, that's core, right? The Veil of Darkness teleport, that's core. The Immortal Pride Warlord trait, that's core. All the strats that let you teleport in or come out of a transport, basically, they're all core. Redeploy out of a monolith, only core, right? So my Scorpeg destroyers are not coming through the monolith, right? All of that, I feel, I don't love it. They took it too far.
You've gone too far, James.
It matches the theme. Like they have a reason for it because destroyer cults are on the outside, flayed ones are on the outside.
But there wasn't anything to counteract it, right? In the way that, like, cool, follow the fluff, follow the lore, but like, let's give you something to make up for that. And that really hurts things like the melee destroyers, for example, where you have these really high value hits that you just have no way of reliably guiding or making sure that they work. So.
I would have liked to see something like a warlord trait. If you make a destroyer lord a war, you can have destroyers as core.
Totally.
Or even like abilities that work, like to activate it for destroyer cult units or something like that. It's like, cool, you're saying that the destroyer cult is a thing, but you're not really giving us tools to like activate on that, right?
I agree. So they all of a sudden took this army and made it a combat army, and then they just didn't go all the way. Like they just didn't let you have your nice things and that. So I think that it's hurting me on the battlefield. Maybe I'll get over it. Like maybe I'll find that I don't actually care about those abilities and I can play around them. Because the Scorpeg Lord still gives his auras to other destroyers and things like that. So okay.
You are more independent, I guess.
You're more independent.
The units are more independent of other
You could build
things.
more like MSU kind of army that's not really using these buffs. But the buffs are good.
They're good.
Giving them up kind of
I'd rather take
kind of sucks. Not my favorite. Okay, let's talk about the next. And this is a thing that every new codex is going to get. And it's custom secondaries.
Let's do it.
Why is this interesting?
So the custom secondaries are interesting because they give you more ways to play the game, right? This is essential. We often take the same secondaries in the game, so this gives you more options, right? And generally speaking, we've seen the Space Marine ones. Now we're going to look at the Necron ones. They let you play the army in a way that's well suited to your army, right? So, for example, what do we have?
So there's 4 of them in this book, okay? Now keep in mind, secondaries they come as part of a category. So this first one is in the No Mercy, No Respite category.
Cool.
That's actually not the best category for Necrons to begin with. So this is a good category for something to be in. It's called Code of Combat. It's 3 points every time a noble kills a unit.
Cool.
Oh, but nobles, they're just not fighty enough.
Well, and how many are there? Like
the nobles are only the lords, overlords, most of the special characters, and the Silent King.
Not destroyer lords.
And nothing destroyers, not Cryptex, not Caesaris, none of that sort of stuff. So,
not Caesaris?
No, he's a dynastic agent. He's a Cryptech.
Right. He's a big Cryptech.
He's a big Cryptech.
Right.
So, okay, an Overlord is not killing anything. A Lord is definitely not killing anything. If you give all your Warlord traits and relics to a command barge, as I said, maybe you could, because he's got a bit more speed to get in there. The Silent King is going to murder everything.
This is a great one for him.
He could murder just in shooting, let alone. So, okay, so this is cool. The Silent King could get you this one, especially if you had one more Lord. But as soon as they already want to kill the Silent King.
Right.
If they kill him, you just don't get your points for this.
Real
it's the only thing in your army that could get it. I don't love it.
Another thing, again, to be looking at these, there was a lot of fear about the codexes talking about the new secondaries, like how much of an advantage is this going to be to get more options. It's really important the categories of secondaries that these fit. And that really decides the viability of them.
So we already talked about the table quarters before.
Yep.
That's called Purge the Vermin.
Oh.
Weird.
Well, that's dark.
Very grimdark, yeah. The other 2, though, have something in common, which is that the enemy helps pick objectives. And then you get points for holding them. So you could get a lot of points if you hold them. So if you're going to really dominate, so if you're already going to win, you could win even more with these. But they're not really going to help you a ton. So this one, let me give you this one. Treasure of the Aeons. This is Battlefield Supremacy, which is not great. Or Battlefield Supremacy is one of the best categories. So it's not one of the ones that you'd, like it already has great options.
Is this engage and everything?
Engage on all fronts is in Battlefield Supremacy. So, okay, you're already
my beating heart.
You're already giving that one up. But okay, this is what happens. After both sides finish deploying, your opponent selects the 3 objectives. All 3.
All 3?
Yep. And you score points equal to, so if you hold all 3, you get 5. It's not even like 10 or something.
Are you kidding?
If you only hold 1, you get 2 points. So if you had a mission with very few objectives and they had to pick one kind of on your side.
Pillars. You're playing 4 pillars.
4 pillars.
One of those is in your deployment zone. And you get 10 points.
And you got 10 points from it.
And it's also the mission you can't deep strike onto that point.
Yeah.
But you start on it.
Which
it's in
you're
your
normally
deployment
very good at.
Yeah. So if you've got very, very few objectives, that's the only time you're going to pick this one.
Yes. That's
if you've got a 6 objective mission and they're like, it's the 3 on my side, sucker, you got nothing.
Just do banners and get your 10 points and be done.
Yeah. And the next one the next one's kind of worse because you alternate picking them, but then you have to complete an action on it. It's not even just hold it. So And it's only 3 points for the action.
Is it command phase to command phase too?
Or
move to
something like that. But either way, it's not impressive.
That secondary is like a page
and that's in Shadow Operations.
I wanted to read the whole thing.
It's a lot of words. Yeah. Shadow Operations has Raise the Banners, which this army is really good at.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know that any of these are going to stand out. But hey, it's an option you have. And as we said, if you've got an army that's not going to get in those table quarters, take Purge the Vermin.
Well, that's what you look at, right? And 9th edition secondaries are based around being very difficult to do. So while we're kind of poo-pooing them in many ways, I think just be thinking about them. Look for that mission, or that match.
We don't want them to be auto takes, to be honest, because that actually would unbalance the game. Like if this book had an auto, if I had 15 points in this book that I was guaranteed in every game, that would be really bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So take us with a grain of salt. We're complaining here, but we don't want to be happy, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Complaining is the only right answer here.
I want them to be difficult
because we don't want any of these to be.
That was the worst about 8th edition.
And I like Purge. I think it's like good secondary design. It's like situationally great, but usually bad.
Right.
Awesome. That's why it's an option to take.
He's right. That's what it should be.
Words of wisdom.
I think it's like we're reviewing this book from like, how can it be super overpower gamer?
Okay, we're gonna play.
None of these are power gameries. They're not. None of them are auto win buttons.
Yeah.
I just want an auto win button.
Exactly.
And I didn't get it.
The internet can calm down about the secondaries though, because these are just fine.
They're totally fine.
They're not gonna break the game.
They're totally fine.
And also, there's only 4 in the book.
There's only 4 in this book. Yeah. And there's only from 3 categories. But you could technically take all 3.
What do they double up on?
They doubled up on battlefield supremacy, the engage. Which,
fascinating.
Worst
double. You could take 3, but that would be tough.
I think what we should do one time is we should play a game where we have to take the 3 from our book.
Oh gosh,
that would be hard.
And you build a list around.
It worked out for me last time with the Marines one.
You got 15 points on
I think that's the best of all the ones we've seen.
It's actually perfectly fine,
because it's so jack of all trades. Like you can pretty comfortably take it if you have no better options.
Exactly.
In almost every game.
Right, and you were taking the
Code of Combat.
Code of Combat.
That one's impossible.
It could have worked.
Well, it's a couple things. It's like your army build and your opponent's army build. You had an army that let you play it, just not the best.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
Okay, so the last thing, let's talk about points for a second.
Let's talk about points.
Okay, so what do we got? The army's points are actually here. Let's move over a little bit. We'll get into this.
So you've been behind the rest of them. It's fine.
Most of them, yeah.
They were pretty funny because it was like, and now Brian is a Scorpack Lord.
That's right. It's just my head.
It's like Mike Wazowski, but Scorpack Lord.
So one of the things, if you look at this list, this isn't everything in the book, but it's a number of things. You'll see the points either stayed the same or even went down.
Sure.
Now this is particularly impactful because everything got better. So when your army's getting cheaper and better at the same time, that's quite a step up.
That's a big deal,
right? Yeah. And you got layered rules. You got better dynasty rules. You got protocols now. Better character abilities. So there's quite a bit there. But it's hard, it's kind of deceptive because some of your army-wide things left, the big things you had, like that army-wide 5++. But generally, I'm very encouraged by these points. I think the points are very favorable. Something, I've been talking about the Lich Guard, going from 30 to 28.
Yeah.
And the Lich Guard getting that extra attack and just being extra killy with Novak and things like that. I think that's a healthy number for something like that.
28's really healthy, especially even comparing it to something as powerful as the Space Marine book.
Yeah.
You're like, that's actually quite reasonable, really interesting option.
And it's the reason you're even paying 28 for that is reanimation. You have to remember that they have essentially a 5-up feel no pain.
Right. That ignores damage.
Yeah, that ignores damage, but they are 2 wounds, so it's worse and better.
Depending on the gun,
The thing is, we just even saw today the fact we saw some points like Sanguinary Guard are around 30 points. A Sanguinary Guard is a lot stronger than Lich Guard.
Yeah.
By a lot, like a long shot.
That's the Sanguinary Guard's fault, largely.
Right. So there are things that are out of whack, but these guys would still wreck a unit of Sanguinary Guard, like if they fought first. You know what I mean? So they're still playing the game very well.
And Warriors going up by a single point, and they're one of the biggest winners of this codex.
Yeah.
Like the reanimation protocol, you are going to get so many warriors back. It's ridiculous.
You'll get a ton back, and it's money well spent on that.
You can look at it as basically you have half as many more warriors.
Yes.
Yeah. For 1 point.
It was well worth it.
50% more. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only they have the base reroll 1, so they didn't. They used to have the character support in order to res pretty well, but now they don't. And I'm really into the warriors. Warriors are. I love just Silver Tide.
Right.
This is like my most interesting thing, but I'm really encouraged to do a very combat build because I think look at the flayed ones at 13. Wow. Flayed one at a 13, they got reanimation too.
That's like the same price as a Coblite.
Yeah. Yeah, Coblite.
Get out of here.
Sorry.
That's the door, Adrian.
Jakari emotes, quick.
Or a Praetorian at 25, right?
Oh, yeah.
A Praetorian at 25, that is a juicy killer right there. I'm really into them. So, and you can even see things like rates going down to 10 points.
Oh yeah, how much are they now?
They're 35 instead of 45.
Good. Okay. Cool.
So
That's a big decrease in points.
It's
a big decrease. Now they have to have a tax character to get them back up a little bit. But unless you don't play them that way, if you're like, this is just a unit that's going to run into the corner, and I don't even care if they kill anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Now they're kind of now they're totally fine, right? Or even okay. So it says 55 to 70 for the Locust Destroyer. That's actually wrong. That's if they take the Mega Gun.
Yeah. They're actually pretty much
They're 55.
Unchanged.
They're the same points cost, but they're fairly unchanged.
Yeah.
But they are changed in the fact that you can't teleport them around and things like that.
Right.
And they actually res. I don't know if it's better or worse. I think it's virtually the same.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Because you at least have a chance to
odds
res.
Were not great before.
Before you had no chance to res.
Yeah.
But when you did, you got more back.
Yeah.
So that relied on your opponents kind of making
the Res Orb, which I don't know if you mentioned, is great for them.
We didn't. The Resurrection Orb is 30 points now, which is it's pricey. It's
pricey.
But it gives you old reanimation protocols.
Yes.
Basically, what it allows you to do in your command phase is you pick a unit and you get to try and res everyone who's died.
Such a big deal.
And you could stack that with the Canoptic Reanimator.
Right.
So you could say, okay, in my command phase, I'm going to reposition my Canoptic Reanimator. So I'm reanimating on 4s or rolling 1s, and I'll res a whole army of warriors.
Or even like the destroyers really, you need that big wound pool of dice to get to those chunks of 3.
Yeah. And
so get that on a 4-up reroll, that's a huge deal.
If you took a big unit of warrior or of destroyers and you use a res orb on them, my opinion is at most you'd get 2. Like Getting more than 2 would be very, very challenging.
Yeah, that's true.
And you might only get 1. You might get like close to 2. So I don't think I would burn the res orb. Like you still made points back. Even if you got 1, you made your points back.
Sure.
Right, on a 50, 60 point model.
Right.
So,
but it's once per game, right?
Once per game.
Yeah.
Per model, you could put multiple of them if you really cared.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of points here from chat that they've been on for about an hour now. Okay. So I'm sure they want me to tell you.
Yeah, hit them up.
4 attacks on 4s is 2 hits.
Yes.
3 attacks on 3s is 2 hits. So theoretically, Wraiths are the same. I would say
they have the chance to get better.
They have higher variance now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that 10-point decrease is really them losing a point of invuln.
Yes.
Separately,
I strongly agree. Yes.
There is a hype train around Canoptic Spiders. They're apparently really cheap.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look at the spider. So this is an old model, and so I'm very I pick things based on models. That's how I build my armies.
Yeah.
But I love the spiders. One of my friends was really wrecking me with spiders at the.
One of my friends was a spider.
No, he was really wrecking me with spiders.
He was a Canoptic Spider?
I'd believe it.
Okay,
right.
so let me tell you about the Canoptic Spider.
Okay, yeah.
So let me tell you about the Canoptic Spider. So it's a single model where you could take it up to 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 6 wounds, T6, 3 up saves. So it's like a somewhat durable chassis.
Yeah.
It's Canoptic, so whatever, it hits on 4s. Now it can shoot, strength 6, nothing, doesn't matter. So now it fights in combat at strength 8 minus 3/2 damage with 5 attacks.
You have my attention.
Okay.
Whoa.
So the boy can slap, right? Now you can upgrade him so that he can heal vehicles, so D3 wounds to a vehicle.
Yeah.
Or you could give him the Gloom Prism, which allows you to deny psychic powers.
That's right.
But it's
on that one,
it's no pluses to deny.
Yeah.
And it's standard deny range, but we'll check on the price.
It gives you deny in a different kind of build, though.
Yeah.
The other ones we've seen have all been kind of in one type of build.
Okay, and then he brings back Scarabs, right?
Yeah.
So in your command phase, 1 destroyed model from each Scarab squad within 6 inches is fully reanimated. That's 4 wounds.
That's cool.
Right back on the
and
table. It's each one, yes. So that could be a lot of points back.
On
if you
top of, they're already having reanimation protocols.
Yes, they have reanimation protocols built in. So last turn you lost less.
Right.
It's easier to keep them on the board, although 4 wounds, it's kind of tough to bring one of them back.
Armor save too.
But that's fine. And
but let's say you lose 3 bases, right? You have a big squad, you lose 3 bases. You'll get a base back.
You'll get a base back.
I'm liking
and the Scarabs are great. So and here, let's bring up their points for a second.
The Scarabs are amazing.
Yeah,
Scarabs looking up the spider.
I'm looking at
the spider's like 65 points.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Nihilok Canoptic army. Cool.
Yeah, let me just double check.
Now this is all OBSEC. Scarabs are
OBSEC. This dude in?
Wraiths are OBSEC.
They're just handing out OBSEC like candy these days. Custodies used to be the only people with everything OBSEC. Now they're like, nah, Space Marines are all OBSEC, and Necrons are all OBSEC.
Yeah, so just 60 points, and you can. The Gloom Prism's only 5 points for a deny, so that's kind of a thing. They are, and they're an elite slot, so they're not a fast attack slot like the Scarabs, because you'll run out of fast attack slots in this army pretty quick.
I'm glad they moved stuff around.
So they're in the elite slot, which is really great. Yeah, they took destroyers out of the fast attack, which, come on, they're always heavy. I don't know what they're thinking. So I'm definitely into them. I don't love. It's an old model. I wish there was a newer model.
You don't like that model?
It's
I think
okay.
It's so pretty.
Is it the Dawn of War model?
There's a.
Well, it has more polygons. Than
there's
that,
like a Forge World thing that you could do that's kind of similar. Like I can convert one out of a Forge World.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get a few of them up.
I like it.
We'll do it.
I like it.
So okay, let's say would you take them in units or only ever one? You take them as a single.
Ooh.
Probably just single.
I might take 3 singles or something.
3 singles.
I was thinking singles, yeah.
And then you spam.
But these are elites, you said?
They're elites.
Because you're not taking rates.
You're not gonna run out of elite slots.
Because you get 6 elites in a battalion.
Yeah.
And you're taking a lot of troops in this army. So let's say you take 3 singles, and then how many scarabs do you take? So you take 3 units of scarabs,
max.
for sure.
For sure.
You don't take max size squads. Get out of here.
100 scarabs.
That's overkill.
Could have said max number of.
Would you say
squads.
maybe 4 or 5 bases?
Yeah. What is the max, anyways?
It's more than that, but let's find out.
Max
Probably
20 bases.
not more than 5 because blast is gonna hurt you hard enough.
And I'm gonna take
so 9.
3
you could have 9.
squads.
You can have 9.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
So,
27 scarabs.
So-
you're just memeing on them.
I think we'll do 5. We'll do 5.
You're either doing 5 or you're doing 9. So
The thing
5.
is, how many are you actually going to get back? Because your opponent's not going to be like, I killed 1, 1, and 1. You're not going to get 3 back.
But the bigger the squad, the more likely that is to happen because you can have some out of line of sight, things like that.
Yeah,
Whereas
sure.
if you only have 4, I can wipe that in 1 unit.
Is there a clause restricting multiple spiders raising?
In your command phase, 1 destroy model from each scarab squad within 6 inches of this unit is reanimated. Each unit can only be affected once per phase.
There we go.
So yeah, I can't res 2 back into a unit.
Yeah.
And all the abilities are like that are in the book. So if I have 2 technomancers, I can't res a bunch of people back to that 1 unit. So yeah, I overall, what do you think? Okay, give me your overall impressions.
My overall impressions are that the army's much more interesting.
Tons more.
Much more fun, much more, you can really build into a certain type of playstyle that's different than it was before. A lot of these, all the models are gorgeous, and now they're actually interesting and usable. I don't think it's on the same level as Space Marines.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I think it'll be decently performing,
yeah,
but it's not super high tier.
Well, let's put it this way. If the rest of the codexes could be like the Space Marine Codex or like this one, I would want the rest of them to be like this one.
This is kind of what I thought. I thought core would be like an actual punishment.
Yes.
I thought that they would get rid of super combos where you layered a bunch of things together.
Yeah.
And Space Marines. Okay, so here's the thing. Compare this book against all the armies in the game right now. This is high tier.
Yeah, I think so.
Compare it against the current Space Marine book that came out, it's behind that.
Yeah.
Right? And because Space Marines is actually like 9 factions, it puts it seemingly far down.
Sure.
But this can hang with Space Marines, right? It's just the Space Marines are more efficient, and they generally get more for their money, sort of thing. Like, every Space Marine just stacks abilities a bit too well by comparison.
And again, they are going to be easier to play, right? There's a lot of really interesting complicated combinations here. But I think if you can master that, you can do quite well with them. I know that might seem like a way of sort of making excuses for a less powerful codex.
Yeah.
But again, things like Harlequins are similar.
Yeah.
They're very complicated. They are really tough and can be really terrible if you are not good at them. But the better you get, the more powerful they are. I think Necrons will be very similar. I think a master Necron player can totally go toe to toe with
Bridger, what do you think of this? What do you think of this codex, Bridger?
I would say it's like an 8.
Yeah.
Out of 10.
That's a great score.
Like for design wise, not for power level. I would say design wise, it's an 8 out of 10.
It's
and I want more codexes like this one.
The only if I only have one.
I have some feel bad. About this,
I have one complaint with the whole army, and only one. I just want my combat units to be core. If you gave me that, I would have 0 complaints with the whole book.
I don't want them to be core out of the box.
I don't care.
I want you to have a way to get them core.
I want them to have the abilities.
They don't have to be core. They need to get some way to get some sort of buffs.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
They're too much into like buffs are only for core.
Yeah.
And if you're not core, there's nothing else, right?
Yeah.
It should be like certain things can buff certain things and make that more limited.
So everything else in this book, I'm super happy about. Like I would have loved a few stronger relics. I would have loved a few stronger warlord traits. Yeah. Those 2 areas are meh. Yeah. But everything else is amazing.
So cool.
And I wanted my new destroyers. I wanted to be able to have them just synergize a little bit with my characters. That's about it. I thought it was fantastic, though.
So obviously I knew all this information, but even just talking through it again, I'm even more inspired to work on my Necrons.
And there's so many builds here. That's why every time we pick a model and it's like, okay, I'll buy it. Because it's like, they're all good.
I hate them. Go get some spiders now.
They're all, because everything in here is playable, right?
Yeah.
Every strategy is playable. Like, you want to play your death marks? They're going to snipe a character.
Do it.
Like, if you got a 10-man squad, you're gonna pop a dude.
Exactly.
Right? So,
and again, at least the time of writing right now, there's not many tournaments. So I think this is still a great army you can have fun playing with. even if you're playing at home competitively, right? Like we have very fun, like competitive garage games.
Yeah.
Perfect for that, right?
I agree.
So definitely awesome.
Well, if you want to see more about the Necrons, we're actually releasing maybe about another 5 or 6 tactics videos about them.
That's right.
So we go over the army kind of from different angles, and we go over the book and zero into particular areas,
different
and
topics.
kind of pick it apart and give you a lot of insights. So those videos are going to be coming out over the next 2 weeks.
Got it.
We've also got a number of battle reports coming up. We've got a ton. In fact, we got a battle report tomorrow. And Bridger, we were voting. The community was voting on what faction was going to play tomorrow.
We were. So our premium members get access to the Titan's Den within our Discord. And there's a channel there called Tuesday Faction Voting. This is where you get to pick what we're going to play on your Tuesdays.
Yeah, so who are we going to play? Let's announce it here.
Well, what's the second place or
third
place?
Oh, we want to start with third place?
I'm curious.
Third place was Iron Hands.
Oh, okay.
People did not want to see Iron Hands. Fourth place, there shouldn't have been a fourth place, but I messed up. The permissions were set wrong for a little bit. So
someone else added something in?
Your fists ended up on there.
They weren't even on it.
They weren't an option, but fists got 40 votes.
It was a write-in option.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, fists got 40 write-in votes. Last place. Second place, Ultramarines. And I had a lot of people message me, and they were like, can we just do Ultramarines anyway? And I was like, not on Tuesday, but you will see Ultramarines.
We will do Ultramarines.
We'll get to them.
We're going to get to them.
And in first place, with 261 votes, a lot of support, White Scars.
Oh, let's do it. I'm excited.
Khan! I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Okay, so we'll play the White Scars tomorrow against them. What do you think? What do you think we should match it up against?
I feel like we haven't tried them against Death Guard, and they're both really good armies.
Yes.
What do you think?
The unstoppable force and the unmovable objects, I think. So let's do it. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. This is only for members. So if you haven't become a member, you could jump in and become a member by hitting join in the channel.
That's right.
And you're going to see a link to this inside the community tab. And there will be a live game. You could come join live, and everyone in that game, in that live chat, will be a member.
It's gonna be cool.
So that'll be really, really great. That's the very first one, and we'll announce a bunch of other stuff during that game as well. So we're also going to be playing Necrons, though, again, very, very soon. I think the next time we're going to be playing Necrons is either Thursday or Saturday. Did we decide? I think it's Thursday.
I don't remember.
Yeah, let's play them on Thursday, and let's play your Nihilek, right?
Ooh, sounds good. Sounds good.
So that is we've already played Mefrit.
That's right.
So we'll play them, and then last we'll play some Novak. But we'll do that in a week or two when we get a few more Scorpec destroyers.
Makes sense.
And we want a bit more punch in that list. And then as soon as we get Caesaris, we'll play the one more game with the Caesarian dynasty. Right. So a lot to look forward to, both tactics videos and battle reports. And of course, one more time, if you'll bear with us, we'd love to tell you just about Titans Pro again. You saw that members get to vote. You're not only voting on these upcoming games, you're going to get to vote on all of these stretch goals. Yeah. We're prepping a vote that's going to go live on Thursday.
Yes.
Which is which of the specialist games we're going to end up playing. So these are things like Speed Freaks and Necromunda, Kill Team. We've got all kinds of things. Aeronautica's in there. Titanicus is in there. Maybe even Lord of the Rings will be in there. We'll see. Great, yeah. So all kinds of other tabletop games that rarely get played in this kind of format. So we're going to actually do that twice.
If there's something that you've been wanting to see us play, this is your chance to make your voice heard. Let us know. That vote will start Thursday, and I think we're going to announce it on the Saturday show. We'll announce it on Saturday. Sounds good.
But we have many more votes. We have to vote on the AOS games, the APOC games, and what we're going to do, depending on the faction you pick for APOC, we'll actually paint up like a new centerpiece for each of these armies.
We even have some armies very soon we're going to be picking, so that's going to be a big vote.
There's 2 army unlocks that have already happened, and you'll get to vote on which army gets added to the channel. Maybe you want to get us to get some Thousand Suns, or you'd really like to see Death Watch. Who knows? Maybe some Tyranids. Lots of cool armies that we still don't have to unlock. So don't forget that. Bridger, where are we at with the stretch goals?
So we are quite close to our next stretch goal at 1250. We're going to do some automated voice room or voice chat room generation. So right now there's just a static, set of voice channels with no real moderation. I'm not like doing anything. And we've had a lot of people ask like, hey, we want to play TTS or we want to play this role-playing game. Is there a place for us to do that? Well, yes. So we're going to automate these chat rooms so that there will always be an empty one. You jump in there, you have some friends, a new one spawns, and somebody else can jump in that one.
Because the Discord has already been super vibrant. This is a way to make it even richer so that you can play games with people or just chat or hobby hangout or whatever you'd like to do. So this will be a big level up to the Discord. But there's a ton more stretch goals that we hope to get to.
I'm so excited.
Hope to get to later. We have ones that are off this chart that are even crazier. So all kinds of fun stuff.
You're gonna like take a shot of null and do a backflip off the house.
Yeah, sort of shave my beard, drink some null oil. And so thank you again for everyone who's joined so much. We really appreciate it. We're overwhelmed by the amazing support.
It's so awesome.
It really is going to help us start to make this extra content and level up what we're doing. So we really, really appreciate it. For all you members, we hope to see you tomorrow live, 6 p.m. Until then, we hope you all enjoyed what we made here.
Well, before
we do still have a Q&A.
Oh,
section.
do we? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to sign off here.
You were in the zone.
We have a lot of questions. Yeah.
Let's jump into the Q&A
I love that.
portion.
Let's do Q&A time. I really hope you have Q&A questions about this.
You were like so in the zone. You're like, let's do this.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Dirty Mike. Hey, Tabletop Titan boys.
What's up?
Question. Do you think reanimation protocol for multi-wound Necrons is better than the old system? If not, what's the fix?
It is a little better.
It is actually. It doesn't feel like, well, I think because people were expecting so much more for that, but this is kind of it covers lots of different types of models at the same time.
Bringing back 50 to 70 point models is a thing you have to be careful about.
Yeah.
You don't have to get too many of them before it becomes unreasonable.
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, over the period of a game, what is reasonable to get back? Like 2 big models? That already sounds pretty good. Especially as long as the tax you paid for reanimation wasn't too high.
Yeah.
I don't think it is too high.
No.
So I actually think it is an improvement, but it's only a slight one because they're not trying to make it so that you lose 5 score pecks and 5 come back. They definitely don't want that.
Yeah,
it could happen though.
It could.
They don't want it though.
Paired with living metal and the points changes.
Yeah.
They're more durable.
I think they're in a much better place.
Yeah, they're more durable than ever.
Brian's gonna do very well with them on the stream.
5-ups are my jam.
Gotta roll 5-ups.
Thank you, Mike. Loving the content. If you use the operate on top profile strat on the king, does he get to use his extra weapons?
Oh man.
Yes.
Is he vehicle keyword? Hold on. Is he vehicle keyword? So
but this is after the Miniers are killed, is what he's saying.
There's a 1 CP strat.
I think the way it's written though, I don't know.
No, so he does lose things from his pillars dying.
Right.
But separately, as he loses wounds,
he loses
auras.
Weapons.
Yeah, so you definitely would regain that.
So he does have the vehicle keyword. What have they done?
He has the
and that means the spiders can repair him.
It also means I can haywire the heck out of him.
Adrian's all excited.
I'm really excited.
I don't want to hear about that. But he still has a 4-up involved, and I'll just make my involved.
Adrian's like, yes, put him on the channel.
So here, this is what's up. If he has 8 or fewer wounds, he cannot make attacks with his staff of stars, and he loses his Fair on other stars ability. If he has 4 or fewer wounds, then he can't blah blah blah. So that says X fewer wounds. It doesn't necessarily like operate on top profile at the top here.
Ooh, that's a good point.
You see, he has a degrading movement stat. That's the only thing that's degrading. Only has a degrading attack stat. Operate on top profile is going to impact only those 2.
Is it top profile though?
Depends on how the strat is worded.
Yeah. How
so
is
let's.
They might have retemplated.
Right, but
that would be weird because the other rule says exactly how many wounds he has, not how many he's acting as. You know.
Well.
That
gets very philosophical.
I feel you.
This is not a pipe.
The problem is I don't remember what this one's called off the top of my head. So let me find it for a second.
Do you off the top of your head? No. A lot of people have been asking, did troops lose OBSEC? Like, is that written somewhere in this book?
Oh, I don't think so.
So,
but they gave OBSEC specifically to...
Objective secured is now a core rule in the main rulebook. In 9th edition.
That troops
They've
have.
actually redefined it, finally. We've been asking about this for a while, and a lot of the old books still have their own way of saying objective secured, but it's back to being an actual key, well, not keyword, but a special rule, basically.
A keyword.
Yeah, I know, right? So that, I believe, is written in the 9th edition codex, which is probably why it's not built into this book anymore.
Good.
Okay, here, very clear, it's not going to get it. So until the start of your next command phase, that model is considered to have full wounds remaining for the purpose of determining what characteristics on its profile to use.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay? And if this model was Titanic, it costs 2 CP. So
he's not Titanic. Well, is he?
I don't think he's Titanic.
But it sounds like there's not much reason to do it.
But anyways, he would only get extra attacks.
And go faster.
And go faster. Which, if you needed it...
Listen, they paint him red for a turn.
If you needed it, then that would be good. But no, he doesn't have Titanic keywords. So you'll take him up from movement 4 to movement 8. Take him from 2 attacks to 6 attacks.
Oh, that's not nothing. That's 4 extra attacks on a Mega Man.
Yes. Yeah. As far as Mega Man's combat, like his Scythe of Dust is Strength 8 -4, 3 damage. And every time he fights, he makes 4 additional attacks with it.
Cool.
And no more than 4 attacks can be made with it. Okay, so no, sorry. He only gets 4 attacks with that. You have to read those last sentences. So then he has the next best weapon that he could do would be the... what's the next best weapon? Probably the Scepter of Eternity. This is Strength 9 -3, 2 damage. So he'll have 6 attacks at Strength 9, 2 damage, and 4 attacks at Strength 8, 3 damage. That's a lot of attacks.
This guy's a monster. And he has an aura of Fight Last.
Oh, yeah. What?
Wait, he has an aura of Fight Last?
I heard someone say that, but I realized we actually didn't talk about it.
He has a lot of rules, Brian.
I probably just missed it.
If you can think of a rule, he might already have it.
Degree in this.
I don't know. Hold on. I haven't seen this. Voice of the Triarch once per battle. No, that's the thing there. You have to read every sentence because you'll be stuck at the last.
Here it is. Obsidian generators.
Yeah.
Start of 5 phase, enemy units within range. Until the end of the phase, though units cannot fight until...
That's right.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
So he has an aura of Fight Last.
Yeah.
This is unreasonable.
I agree.
Good thing he's going to die to my haywire.
Adrian was so excited. He was like, yes, put the Silent King on the channel. I'm just going to play Harlequins against him and kill him turn 1. And then he's going to explode and kill your entire army, Brian.
We'll put him on the... the first time we'll put him on the board, it'll be against an army that has no shooting. And then he's invincible.
It'll be like Corn Berserkers. And they're like, oh, we fight last.
Yeah, they hit him, and then he just like wipes them all.
All right. Thank you, Damien. What are your thoughts on the new FAQs for non-codex chapters?
Whoa.
Dark Angels Terminators all have perma-transhuman.
Yeah, why'd they go and do that? Gosh. So, okay, here's let me tell you what this is.
Yeah.
So Space Marine book just came out. In the book, nothing prevented those books from stacking with the existing codexes. So we even recorded some things where we were talking about it and we weren't sure how it was going to work.
Yeah.
So this morning what they did is they took all the 3 other codexes, so Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Dark Angels, and they said those are dead. Rip them up, they don't work.
And Deathwatch.
And Deathwatch. You lose all 4 of those codexes. In their place, they released an index, a temporary set of rules that will only exist from now until their next supplement comes out, which some of those have been announced by the end of the year. But Dark Angels doesn't have an announced date yet. You lost a lot. You lost all your strats, all your warlord traits, all your relics. They brought a few back. They changed a bunch of them. You have like 4 strats instead of 2 pages of strats.
When you get all the Space Marine stuff.
You get all the Space Marine stuff, which good.
Yeah.
And then there's some rules to say which units you're allowed to take and which ones you're not.
Correct.
Right? Which is already in the Space Marine book.
Correct.
And that's it. So, and they're hinting at where they're going to go with these supplements.
And you get your Psychic Awakening.
You do keep Psychic Awakening.
You do keep your Psychic Awakening rules as well. So those are strats that you still have as well.
Yeah.
Now, some of your data sheets have been replaced. Like, let's say, for the Dark Angels, they had Captain Lazarus or whatever. He has a new data sheet, which does slightly different things.
Yeah.
So you use his data sheet. So it's super confusing. Now, that's what happens for those 4 chapters, right? Everyone else who is in the Space Marine book who has a supplement already, they just fact the supplement. So the supplement is still in play. They just changed a bit of it, and not even that much. They just changed things where the rules are written for 8th edition.
Yeah, they just changed like the Imperial Fists. That's it.
They made some of them. They did make some of them worse. They made some of them worse. So what do we think? Well, we think personally that what they did with Blood Angels at the moment
over the line
is a little too strong, in my opinion. Points wise, their best units are too good, and some of the abilities to put them into combat doctrine.
It's
you can put them into combat doctrine turn
ubiquitous.
1.
Yeah, from the Space Marine book, which was already powerful, and then you get the buffs to these things.
But they get it in their own, like the sanguinary.
Plus that, yeah.
The sanguinary priest
guard
just picks a unit.
And
each of them picks a unit every turn.
Yeah, the sanguinary guard
and they still give the Feel No Pain.
Yeah, the sanguinary guard are too good.
Yes.
So there's an issue. We hope that by the time they get around, they can fact the other book and it'll be fixed. Now with Deathwatch, or sorry, not Deathwatch, which Dark Angels, yes, they gave the whole army transhuman, all the Terminators transhuman.
Just
that's what I'm trying to say.
Inner Circle.
Inner Circle, which is all the Deathwatch except right now Blade Guard.
Deathwing.
Deathwing. All the wrong words.
These words are so similar. Thanks for correcting me. All the Deathwings, so all the Terminators, and everything that has Inner Circle. So I think Blade Guard veterans don't have Inner Circle, but they
got some keyword.
They have the Deathwing keyword, but not the Inner Circle keyword.
That's right.
So they don't get it, thankfully.
Oh my gosh.
But all your basic Deathwing Knights and Deathwing Terminators get it. It seems real good.
It's great. The giant heaping grain of salt I'll take with all of these is, remember, you lose so many strats from your original book, and there's no guarantee what's coming back, what's going to get modified.
Your best strats, though, are in Psychic Awakening.
Well, let's let's leave this here because we could talk all night.
We need to do a whole video on this.
We will probably do a video.
Our initial reaction was not super favorable for 2 reasons. One, it's too big of a fact. It's a very overwhelming fact to drop in one day.
Interim. It's like a month, long, or
exactly.
maybe 2 months at longest.
So the other thing is that it doesn't seem particularly well balanced at the moment. Some of these legions, some of these abilities, they're going over the line of how strong. So we're gonna have to see how it actually plays on the table. Maybe we're crying wolf here, but it seems real good. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Can we imagine a list that is 2 patrol detachments in order to field Nightbringer and the Void Dragon?
Sure.
Would it be competitive?
Yeah.
I think at 2 it's still interesting. We talked about ways of getting like 3. 2, I think it still could be viable.
Yeah.
You're paying for it, but it's interesting.
I think 2 is the sweet spot on Catan.
Really?
And I think it is Nightbringer plus X. Like
Nightbringer
you choose the other one.
Nightbringer's the best one, and Void Dragon's my second favorite. Deceiver's probably tied. I just don't. The redeploy is good. I just don't know how to use it.
I think it's good.
Still
like it.
I like the combat ability of the Void Dragon.
Oh, no, the Nightbringer.
And the Void Dragon. That's what I'm saying. The Void Dragon fights better than the Deceiver.
Well, yeah.
The Void Dragon fights vehicles insanely well.
He has the same damage characteristic as the Nightbringer. He just has 1 fewer attack.
And he doesn't ignore invulns and feel the pains out of the box.
He ignores invulns for 2 CP.
For me, it's like
which when I need it is good.
Deceiver, Void Dragon, and I haven't even read the other guy.
I think Void Dragon is super meta dependent.
Sure.
If you're playing against a lot of vehicles, he's amazing.
I
if
think
you're playing against no vehicles, he's awful.
I think don't overthink his advantages against vehicles. You're not paying that much for those. And even if he's killing only non-vehicles, he's really, really, really good at it.
Yeah. No, and vehicles are very prevalent, and they're going to be relatively prevalent.
You're going to get your money's worth out of 2 of them if you're up against an elite opponent. If you're up against a horde opponent, you're not going to get your money's worth, I think.
Well, they do have psychic powers.
Yes, I get it. And their powers are great, but it's expensive, is all I'm saying. So 2 of them is, we're verging on half your army in a way.
The weird thing is also you're probably losing value on Necrodermis because
they'll just spread their
shots.
Just
shoot
they
both
can
of them.
spread their shots. You know, one of the cool things about Necrodermis, and I do the same thing with Gaz, is you can say, okay, all of your weapons that do extra, you'll do the 3 wounds, but then nothing else because that's not effective. And the more targets you give to do that, then it becomes less efficient. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Monarchier. I'm going to paint my next army in Marblestone pattern.
Nice. Cool.
Throne Room Tactical Camouflage for Custodes is my first thought. Any good other armies?
That's awesome. I love it.
That's all you need, Custodes.
The Custodes tanks have those big, smooth spots on them. They work really well with marbling. I've seen the marbling, and especially even on the Telemon's big shoulders. Yes. I've seen marbling work really, really well on those. So go for that.
Cool.
That'll look great.
Thank you, Erwin. With Dark Angels getting weapon skill 2 Deathwing Knights and permanent transhuman, do you guys have an excuse to get the faction?
Oh, it's definitely warming up.
It's heating up in here, but
guess what? If you become a premium member,
we're gonna
vote.
We're gonna let you vote for it. If it's what the community wants us to get next, we'd be excited to get the Death. I love Deathwing Knights. They're pretty pricey. They're like 47 or 8 points.
Yeah.
Compared, and I say pricey now because I'm comparing everything in the world to a Sanguinary Guard.
Not a healthy way to look at life.
But they're still very, very good.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vatrix. But I noticed that. Oh, sorry. This is a multi-part, and there we go.
Thanks, Vatrix.
So thanks, Vatrix, twice. First, I have been thinking of starting a new Necron Crusade force led by a Cryptek.
Yeah.
Thematically, this Cryptek took command of a Phalanx-sized Necron base after his lord succumbed to Destroyer Madness.
That's cool.
But
it's been known to happen.
Yeah.
But I noticed that I need to have a Necron Noble Warlord to get access to command protocols. Is it feasible to get Cryptek Warlord, or am I just shooting myself in the foot in terms of efficiency?
Command protocols are good. You could play the game without them.
Especially in Crusade.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you're playing Crusade, I would talk to your opponent or whoever your playgroup is and say, hey, I have this really cool, fluffy army. Can we just fudge this rule a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the answer should be yes.
Right.
Because it's narrative. This is the fun part of the game. Exactly. You built a cool narrative.
I can give you an example of what you could do, though. So let's say you put a lord, not an overlord, just a lord, a lowly lord in your army, okay? He gives reroll 1s. He's good. Put him in, put a Cryptek in. You can pay an extra CP to give an extra warlord. So just technically on your data sheet for rules purposes, make the lord your warlord.
Yeah.
That unlocks your command protocols.
Yeah.
And then pay to give a warlord trait to your Cryptek.
Right.
And now just call him your real warlord. For the purpose of the game, it's irrelevant.
Right.
And then he could still be listening to the other guy. That's
and then get your lord with his Destroyer Madness killed.
Yeah.
Well, you can also like make a deal with your friend. Well, you know, deal, but like in a conversation with your friend where it's like maybe you lose your first requisition point or something to sort of explain narratively why everyone's kind of disorganized from the Destroyer Lord going nuts, and then you're paying for this advantage that you're now getting. There's a lot of ways you can work it out. But definitely encourage.
And honestly, lords are considered like pretty lesser. Like they're not necessarily leading dynasties.
Like we let him act like he's in charge.
Honestly, like if Caesaris was on the battlefield, he wouldn't be taking orders from any lords or even overlords. So it's not without precedent that you could have a cryptic leading an army.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Matters That Matter. How do you think AdMech playstyles will shift, and will we be able to take something besides Mars?
I think you could easily take things besides Mars, right?
It's our last game. That was cool.
I was playing Ryza last game.
Ryza, yeah.
And they were great.
That was awesome. And you could optimize the list a bit, but like it's a very different playstyle that totally works. Plays the board, plays.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's great.
Styges is still really, really strong.
I like Styges.
And really, most of them are really, really playable after Engine War came out, Psychic Awakening.
It's also largely the types of units that you want to use. So I think if you're feeling like you have to play Mars, it's probably because you want to play certain types of units. It's tougher to get around, but definitely open yourself to looking at Cerberus Raiders and Priests and transports. And then suddenly Mars actually isn't the best option.
You could appreciate that it's not a shooting. It doesn't have to be a shooting army. It could actually have like a teeny bit of shooting support, and it could just be pure combat. You can even go all combat.
Yeah.
I almost like my army last time. The only shooting was the Iron Striders.
Yep.
Right, and other than that, everything was a combat unit.
I think AdMech is one of the armies most affected by public opinion.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire edition, again, everyone's like, it's a shooting army. It's like, they're actually really good at melee, regardless.
It's a really good combat army.
So be open to just like trying new stuff, because I think it's still a very unexplored army. People kind of go to these defaults.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, thank you, KP. Obsec Lord of Wars seems hilarious. Is the Necron Pylon now the best backfield objective holder? I think you can actually cover an objective fully with it.
So wait, why is it? Why?
Because you can be the faction that gives everything.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
But the problem is it's the Lord of
War. I thought there was
another
way.
And then you don't get your trait.
Unless you have 3 of them.
Unless you have 3 of them, in which case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never get it. Does it say that?
It's part of the detachment. If you take a super heavy ox, you don't get your.
Oh right.
Is it in that book or this book?
It's in the main rules.
It's in multiple.
Is it in the main rules? Because it never used to be in the main rules. And for instance, some factions used to get it. Like Eldar used to get their abilities, but Space Marines didn't, and things like that.
Also check the Nihilak one.
Yeah, Dynasty keyword. Yeah, it's here.
I opened right to it.
Wow.
Super heavy ox, restrictions none, benefits none. So it's not in this book.
Yeah. So Dynasty keyword.
What? No.
Most check is when you include a unit in your army, you must nominate which dynasty. Every instance data sheet, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, here we go. Auxiliary support, super heavy ox, and fortification detachments never gain detachment abilities.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay. Then it's in there. It used to be in the individual codexes, but now it's in the rulebook, it sounds like.
Well, because they consolidated, which I approve. They should keep doing that.
I approve, yeah.
That's right. So, yeah.
Are they good objective holders? No, they cost 1,000,000 points, but it's funny.
Totally funny. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Take 3 of them. Go for it. Take the smaller pylon. They make a smaller one. No one's ever seen it. And get 3 of them.
The sentries?
Yeah.
Thank you, Gavin. Opinions on Custom Dynasty. All OBSEC and 6-inch pregame move with protocol to do all actions and still shoot first turn. Seems like it can be strong.
Go for it.
It's cool and it warrants a lot of testing.
Yeah, I think
it is strong. Yeah. Like, compared to, I think it can hang with actual dynasties.
Yeah, okay. I don't disagree.
Because the actual dynastic benefits aren't
they're not huge.
That amazing to me. And move 6 inches at the start of the game.
You're not losing as much as a Space Marine would.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting competitor to Nihilak in particular.
Yeah.
Because as we said, it's like, cool, this is a great ability, OBSEC.
And then the rest of our abilities suck.
So, I don't know.
I'll take it. Let's do it.
Thank you, Edward. I learned last time Bridges from Ohio, so I thought you should know I'm painting my Custodes black and gold just for yins, you jagoff.
What does any of that mean?
I don't really know. It's probably something about sports ball. But when I hear black and gold Custodes, I think Shadowkeepers, and I approve.
Bridger is not a sports ball kind of guy.
He's not a man of the world. He's a man of the books.
I hear Shadowkeepers colors for Custodes, and I'm like, yeah, do it.
He was actually kicked out for not knowing sports ball.
True,
take the Auric Shackle.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arthur. Would you consider Catan shards an auto-include? If they had a stratagem like assassins to swap them, it would be for sure.
Whoa, that would be so wild.
That'd be
so wild.
That'd be nice.
Or if, like, at the start of the game, the Deceiver is actually any of the other Catan.
That'd be nuts.
So Bridger thinks yes.
I think you would never be wrong to put one.
That's the right way of saying it. You're never wrong to add it, but they're absolutely not included.
Yeah.
I will play probably more than half my games, or at least half my games I'll play without a Catan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to play them like 2/3 of the time.
Yeah.
Just because I like them. I've always liked them.
The only reason is so much more of the book is viable now.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of points.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 other units I could have.
That's right.
Or 1 other mega unit I could have.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just going to want the other mega units.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Demos. How do we feel about Void Dragon and paying CP for Nightbringer as well? Also, how does a Last Wall Protocol themed Crusade army sound as a theme?
Oh my god, I would love a Last Wall Crusade army. In the back of my head, I'm just like, I like painting all kinds of Space Marines, and so I would love to paint up that kind of army. If you have some photos of yours, definitely send them our way. I'd love to see that.
In our Discord, put them in our Discord.
Yes,
that's right.
We have a Space Marine section. We also have a hobby section, so you can just show off to everyone, which would be awesome.
And as far as the Void Dragon, I'm out of these 3, I'm the most bullish about it. I actually think he, in my opinion, is second behind the Nightbringer. The Nightbringer is clearly my favorite, but in real world terms, I would play the Void Dragon many, many more times often than the Nightbringer because the model's rad.
I know. That's the main reason. I know you're gonna like.
The model's rad, and he's real good.
He's gonna get it, and then.
And he's real good. So I'll just be like, okay, Necrons, okay, Void Dragon, and then Silent King, and then.
Oh man.
So yeah.
Thank you, Todd. Listening while at work. Thanks y'all for helping the night go by. Might have missed it, but did you explain how Plasma Sight works with destroyers?
They're pretty bad. Unless they fix them from the Indominus.
That's like the little gremlin that comes with destroyers.
It gives them +1 strength and attack.
Yeah. I didn't explain it. I didn't explain it because it's okay. It works with the Scorpec Lord now.
But did they fix it?
No, you'll still kill yourself. So you can kill your one. You can one-shot. Here's the Canoptic Plasma Sight. He's a little kind of like weird round bleep bloop robot. He's hiding. You can't even see him. He's so small.
There he is.
Yeah, he's right there. There he is. Little tiny little guy. He's in the Indominus box.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry about his profile. He's meaningless. So here's what he does. Blah 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 blah. Okay. It doesn't take up attachment. Okay. While this model is within 3 inches of Destroyer Cult unit, so any Destroyer Cult, enemy models cannot target this model, so he's not shootable. And then here's the Infused Madness. Once per turn, the start of either of your charge phase or your fight phase, you can select 1 Destroyer Cult unit, so any one. Within 3 inches, roll a d6 on a 1, models destroyed.
Yeah.
And if not, you add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristics of models in that unit.
Can you imagine? He just like sneaks up and like has this like shot of like Necron methamphetamines and just zoop. And like maybe it'll go nuts and it'll be great, or maybe he's just gonna get
That's what it is.
Collapses.
It just jacks.
He's like, oh.
It just jacks them up, yeah.
So yeah, what do you think? That's what it does. In case you were just wondering that.
So here's the thing. Okay, so he's the Scorpec destroyers are strength 7. This takes them to strength 8. So it's an important distinction.
They improved that also from the Indominus box.
Yeah, so
before it was like 6 to 7, which who cares?
So going from 7 to 8 is actually a thing. Going from 3 to 4 attacks is a thing. And now that you can have a 6-man squad, that's 6 extra attacks, or it either turns into 5 extra attacks and you've lost 3 because you've lost a guy. Right. Still more attacks.
Oh, does it happen even if you kill a guy? Do you still get the benefits if you kill a guy?
Oh man, if you do roll 1.
No.
On a roll of 1 model in that unit is destroyed, regardless of the result. You get the bonus. Yeah.
So even if you lose a guy, you're going up in attacks.
I like it for big squads.
Yeah. So you can't reanimate this because this isn't an attack, right?
The guy you just stabbed to death.
So if you just ice it,
you could resorb him.
Cool. You could resorb.
I actually think it's not like the worst. I don't think it's optimal, but it's not the worst.
Well, he's cheap too, right? So this is like
he dies if he's not within 6 inches of a destroyer cult.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Can they target him? Can you just shoot him?
No, you can't shoot him. That's the first thing I read. You can't pop the dude.
So like in those situations when you're going up against a T7 or T8 target, just pop
you would be very happy to have it.
I mean,
because they already reroll hardwire destruction is reroll 1s to hit, and then the Lord's going to give them reroll 1s to wound, I think. So
that's cool.
They'd be pretty deadly. So Canoptic Plasma Scythe, how many points is he? He's 15 points. So he's a 15-point upgrade for a unit. If you took a unit of 6, we'll do it.
I would do
it. I'm going to bring 6 in like 2 weeks, and I'll bring him, and we'll see what happens.
It's a little tool.
We'll see what happens.
I dig it.
You never know.
Thank you, Mr. C. I came back and heard Canoptic units all lost a BS, and Wraiths lost their 3-up invuln. What about my Spider Boys?
Oh, we covered that. They apparently are real good.
They're real good. So yes, they all lost a weapon skill and ballistic skill, but they got other buffs.
The Wraiths got another attack.
They went down 10 points.
They went down 10 points.
So it's not just a loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
they become a different kind of unit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Mootsa. Hey, Titans. Thoughts on the death marks, and does the strat let me shoot deep strikers if I'm already on the table? Much love from Australia.
So we had this question.
Yeah, I'll check on whether you can shoot if you're already on the table.
The answer.
What do you think of death marks?
I'm not the biggest fan. I think I need them to be a bit better. They got an extra strength, an extra rend, so you're not just counting on the mortals. But I'm not super impressed. I think you guys are more positive about them.
So you can shoot if you're already on the battlefield. So basically, what happens? 1 CP. Use it in your reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. After a unit has been set up, select one hyperspace hunter. That's a keyword that the death marks have and the hex mark destroyer has. So select one unit that is either on the battlefield or in strategic reserve or in hyperspace dimension. So in any form, on the board, off the board.
Yeah.
And basically what happens, if they're already in reserve, then they get to deep strike 9 inches away, but within 18 of that enemy. And the second thing they can do is they can, at the end of the phase, shoot. And that's it.
That's cool. So you can do it when you're standing.
It has to still be an eligible target. So if you come down behind obscuring, you don't get to shoot them.
Right.
It still has to be eligible. Yeah.
I just wish they got a little bit more. 2 damage.
The one thing for me is make their weapon not heavy. Give me their weapon as assault, or because I don't want to take the penalty for moving and shooting.
They're core though, right?
They're core, yeah. So you could give them +1 to hit, is what you're saying?
Or at least rerolls.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you. Magnus did nothing wrong. Grandfather Nurgle approves of beating those wannabe biker dorks. Can't wait to see. Also joined yesterday. So glad you guys did it. Proud of you dudes.
Thank you. Really appreciate all the support,
yeah,
man.
we'll see if Nurgle can take down the White Scars.
Yeah.
They're both very strong factions.
Yes, they are.
We'll come up with some cool lists.
It'll be cool. It'll be very different than the previous White Scars game.
Yes, similar army, different playstyle.
Yeah.
And thanks again, Magnus did nothing wrong. Did Magnus just hear you suggest that you are getting 1,000 Suns?
Oh, well.
We already have Magnus.
We do. If you want to influence the Skeins of Fate, go ahead and subscribe to...
When are we're going to do that vote either this weekend or next week for the first army.
Correct.
Because we're going to do the next vote we're going to do is going to be for the specialist game, and then we'll do an army vote after that.
You want to do it Saturday to...
Yeah, Saturday, whenever. We'll figure it out. We'll put up the vote soonish, and we'll let you know in the Discord and in the Facebook.
I want to know.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Crypt Shadow. Now stretch goal. Brian wears an Adrian-style shirt or a Canadian suit. Adrian will do something similar. Any tips or tools
for... nothing similar to a Canadian suit.
Any tips or tools for sub-assembly?
I would love to wear a Canadian suit.
Would you?
Yeah. For sub-assembly, don't go nuts on them, right? Pick like sections, I think, at a certain part. And I paid for this recently. I'm giving this advice, but I broke it when I was working on my own Necrons because I do... It's kind of like Izzy has here where there's a lot of silver, but then there's other parts that are actually done in the actual colored armor. And I sub-assembled it too much.
Right.
So still try to build segments. Try to dry fit them if you can, and then glue them together.
The key is, okay, I'd say there's 2 keys.
Yeah.
One is you want to separate things that are different colors.
Sure.
You need to separate what things need to be airbrushed and what things could be brushed. Right?
Yep.
So for instance, if you've got this guy and only the green needs to be airbrushed and the rest could be brushed, you could build him and then spray him. It would almost be irrelevant because nothing is impacting anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you had a big 2 colors that needed to be airbrushed next to each other, that's a prime opportunity for a sub-assembly.
Absolutely.
But only when it's easy. When it's not easy, you might as well mask.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, don't sub-assembly a surface that needs to have a smooth fade on it. Right? If you have 2 halves and they need to sync up, that's horrible. A bad sub-assembly.
That's right.
Right?
And the masking is a great point. You can just use a silly putty to actually just cover an area that you don't want to be painted. And yeah.
Yep. Way to go.
Thank you, Todd. Obsec Scarabs sounds so much fun. Do spiders still do 3-man squads and operate independently once deployed? Or do they stay as a squad?
Oh, do they split up?
They stay as a squad. I didn't see any rule that on the book. We didn't read every single thing on the data sheet, so we could have missed it. But it looks like they stayed as a squad of 3.
I'm super into the
I don't really see that there would be any huge advantage.
Well, if they split up, you could have 9 heals.
I'm saying I'm not sure what the advantage is to having them as a squad.
They activate all at once in combat. That's a minor advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they were core, you could buff them.
So if you have 3 of them, They just extend their aura, but it's still just one aura. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I think having them as individuals is going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
Because in this game, you're not worried about them being easy to kill, right?
Right.
And frankly, they're easier to kill as one unit now rather than two or three.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nukem, Caesaris, and Praetorians. Good Death Star.
Yes. Excellent. Go for it. That's my Death Star. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kieran. Hey, guys. Fantastic stream. Do you think you need to spend CP to use the Deceiver to put people in reserves? Also, the Silent King can explode for 1 CP. You can just guarantee the Silent King can auto-explode.
Yes, you could spend 1 CP.
Vehicle.
You can spend 1 CP to auto-explode any vehicle, which obviously for him is just vicious. I should have brought it up. I saw it earlier when I was reading. I was like, oh yeah.
That's so dumb.
There's just too many things to name.
You can do that every game.
Do you need to pay to Deep Strike? So some things have the ability to Deep Strike for free. They have the Dimensional Corridor or whatever. And the Deceiver says you could either move models or put them into reserve.
Right.
So if they have the ability to go to reserve for free, then they go reserve for free.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you're going to put them into strategic reserves, you have to pay CP for
Agreed.
that.
I don't even know if you could. Could you at that point?
So they have to
be like retroactively.
So normally no, but there are. So the Harlequin one is the same way. So they actually specified for most redeploys, you can't go back and be like, oh, I'm going to use this strat now. Harlequin say specifically you can, and I guess
it specifically says you can.
He's saying specifically, so they have to do that. Yeah.
That's cool.
But yes, you would pay for it. You wouldn't be like, oh well.
You would pay for it unless they already have a free Deep Strike.
Yeah, I understand. Like the way it's worded here, it says if the mission you are playing uses strategic reserve rules, you can place any of those units into strategic reserve.
Yep.
It sounds like you could just do it, but no. It's part of the prerequisite that you pay for.
That's the intention.
Right.
Yeah. Because normally you couldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't meet the prerequisite.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Todd. How do we vote for more AOS games? Would love y'all's insight into the armies.
So what's going to happen? We're going to do those games.
Yep.
And if they're very popular and very successful, we're going to do more because we love AOS too.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be based off of kind of the success of that. Whatever people want to see, whatever people want us to play, we will definitely be looking into it. And those games will be public.
Yeah.
So you can help us hype up those games and kind of tell AOS people that we're going to be playing a game.
Yeah.
That's the best way to help.
We know AOS is at the moment less popular than 40K.
Sure.
So there's a smaller audience for it regardless. But there's a lot less content out there. So I know people who play the game are hungry for it.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful game to watch. Because the models are so cool and there's such unique clashes in that. And so I'm hoping that people are excited to see it, but yeah, we have no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd. We just did that. Yeah. Thank you, Sean. Are we going to see a resurgence of the monolith?
No. It is, I love the monolith. I was actually going to buy a second one just to get that new model. I might still, but for just display purposes. But it became a Lord of War. And everything else about it's great.
That consigns you to the shelf in 9th edition.
That's it.
Everything else about the monolith is great. It shoots better now. It fights better now. Its points aren't crazy, and you could give it the invuln save and all kinds of cool stuff, right? But Lord of War means you pay 3 CP to put in your army.
Yeah,
that sucks.
No thanks.
3 CP, like I understand. It's not really a good, if anything should be a Lord of War, it looks like it should be this.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm saying that it shouldn't be a Lord of War, it's that I just don't like the Lord of War points cost.
You pay, and you also don't get your traits.
Unless you take 3.
Right.
That's a huge issue.
You could just take 3.
Unless you take 3.
So,
and then
what you're saying,
6 command
So what you're saying is I don't buy 1, I buy 2 more.
It sounds like the right answer to me.
That's correct.
Or one of these and then like a pylon or something.
Or no, I'll take the obelisk. Because I like the obelisk already.
But one of each.
Or a Tesseract Vault obelisk.
Yeah, now we're talking, Brian.
Okay, now we're into something. But that's 6 CP to put that in your army, which is outrageous.
It's so dumb. It should be a discount if you take 3.
It should be a discount,
You should gain command points.
It should just be 0.
It should be free.
No, just free.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what it used to be, right?
That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Oof.
It's unfortunate.
Thank you, Templar. What do you think of the selection of relics, strats, etc. available to custom subfactions? Would this help character or too much of a balanced nightmare?
I think GW is definitely worried about the balancing factors of it.
Yeah.
In this, that's
you only lose 1 strat, so it's not like Ultramarines, you lose 2 pages of strats.
And Reliquaries is what, 1 per dynasty, and the rest are all generic?
1 per dynasty, 1 warlord trait, and they're like good, but you can live without them. And they took a lot of the strats, actually a lot of the strats that were faction specific, and they made them generic. Like you want the extra shots, you want the fight twice, you want these things. So it's easier than ever to play custom Dynasty.
Yeah, it's better than Craft World Eldar. Half of their relics are all, actually maybe even more than half, are locked by their Craft World. So it is more lenient than it used to be.
Agreed.
Thank you, Sasori. Do you think the power of the protocols is worth it over taking 2 different dynasties?
Yeah.
The protocols seem good, but it's hard to pass up a second set of dynasty codes, which are active all game.
So you do lose your dynasties, or you do lose your protocols if you have 2 different dynasties.
Yeah.
So that's what they're talking about there. And I don't know. I think that there is some utility in saying, okay, here's my OPSEC Scarabs. Right? That's what you would tech into.
Exactly.
And then here's like my Novak or Mefrit, whatever shooting. That's really rad. The protocols, I think we need to feel it out a little more, particularly whether I'm getting the buffs where I need them, because whether I'm within range of characters. If I find that I'm rarely getting the buffs, then no, it's not a big deal to lose it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Phase Adept. Okay, so it looks like Dark Angels will be the new Iron Hands. Can Necrons handle this?
Necrons could. Yeah.
Necrons.
That's a one
Mortal
it's
wounds.
Kind of like a one thing that they can do.
The answer to a death ball that is hard to wound is mortal wounds.
If you want to see,
it's also a slow army without like if they played all Terminators, it's like slow, very low shooting.
You cut through my Terminators, man. That had
Yeah.
nothing to do with my toughness or my involves. So.
Yeah, they got wrecked, and because
Nightbringer would destroy them.
Oh,
yeah,
He would just tear them apart.
He's winning on 4s.
rooting on 4s, which sucks because he only
That's plenty with
it's
the
not
mortal
actually.
wounds.
still
And
it only kills 2 and killing. It's only killing 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then they just turn around and do 3 wins.
Yeah.
exactly. So it's all his mortal
As
wounds.
they started to say, I was like, wait.
He kills 2 or 3 in combat, and he kills 1 to 3 in psychic. So he killed up to 6 a turn, and it took you 2 turns to get him. So he kills 12 Terminators before you kill him.
You know what you need? Plasmancer.
Yeah. I'm gonna do 1 mortal wound on a 4-up.
Yeah.
To a 3 wound squad.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna be good.
Thank you again, Magnus did nothing wrong. The Discord has more individual chats in it than Zinch has contingencies. So people have been like finding the statistics on how many messages in our Discord. So it's been up for 2 days. We have over 20,000 messages.
Oh my.
The Discord's been going nuts.
We're glad that you're having fun with it.
Awesome.
We're having fun with it too.
I love seeing it. It's just
these guys are like not sleeping.
I'm
They're
not.
like
sucked in for hours.
Scrolling and reading.
We're like, look at this meme someone made.
I've been like making graphics for the show, so I've been staying out of it. But yeah, I'm sure I would be up all night on it.
I was like, oh man, you look tired. Yeah, I didn't sleep much last night. Were you working? Nah, I was just on the Discord.
Just Discord.
Yeah.
Thank you, Simon. What about the Relentless Expansion Custom Dynasty?
Oh, okay.
Which one's that?
I have no idea. It's a wild card.
Probably all OBSEC is what it sounds like.
Expansion.
Relentless, I don't know.
Or is it the 6-inch pregame move?
I don't know.
Just keep speculating. I like it.
Here it is.
Is
okay.
it reroll ones to hit?
Relentless.
An elephant? Is it a sailboat?
Okay.
Is it Superman?
Your grandparents when you
Yeah, this is the 6-inch move before the
Nailed it. Second try.
pretty good.
Yeah, at the end of the start, and at the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, units with this code can make a normal move.
So in case you missed it earlier,
So not your Praetorians.
no, they would love this.
They would
one.
love
They'd
this.
be so happy.
But so would like Wraiths. I think a lot of stuff would love it.
Yeah.
So we think it's interesting. We think it definitely warrants a lot of testing. Out of the box, it's a little tougher to read, but I think it's one of the more.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But nothing with the dynastic agent keyword's going to get it. So right, like so only your your Catan aren't moving up, and your Praetorians aren't moving up.
Well, the Deceiver could just move all your Catan.
That's correct. But your Canoptic units are still getting it. So
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kieran. Me again. One reason people say that to use spiders in a unit is because I believe a Cryptek Arcana can give the unit an extra D3 attacks each. So maybe you would want a big 3-man unit of spiders.
Yeah,
the Arcana. Yeah, there is
flat 2 damage.
So yeah, if you wanted to turn them into an attacking unit, you could. Yeah.
Well, they're strength 8 for whatever reason.
Yeah, and they were 2 damage, if you remember.
Yeah.
I like it.
Give it a go.
That's good.
I think it would be cool.
That's cool.
We'll do it.
Thank you, Mr. C. Not sure if I want to run Death Marks with the Silent King for shooting aura buff, or let the King run up with like Lich Guard or Warriors. And how hesitant would you be to run both the Catan and the Silent King in one list?
I wouldn't be hesitant at
all.
all.
Brian will do it in a second.
Sounds amazing. Man after my heart. I actually think Death Marks chilling with your Silent King and just walking up with him every turn is the way to go, because you're -1 to hit, but you reroll all hits.
Yeah.
Right?
So they still do mortal wounds on 6s?
Yeah.
So it's
not to wound. It's all reroll all hits in shooting, all wounds in combat.
Oh, okay. I was like, then you're like old school sniper, like Gilliman popping.
No. But that means you're minus hit, so you're hitting on 4s, let's say, or you might well be done them, so you're hitting now on 3s, re-rolling.
Yeah.
They're pretty reliable.
That's cool.
And I'm into it. I'm super into it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jacob. How do you guys feel about the state of Grey Knights currently? I just started from this edition, and I'm struggling to find a good build.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot right now. They were quite strong in 8th, and then honestly, mostly just the mission design put them in a tougher spot.
And the obscuring terrain rule.
Yeah.
Because they used to love to hide in a building and shoot through it with astral aim.
Right.
And they can't hide anymore, and they're so premium, like that you can kill them.
Yeah.
And you just don't have enough bodies to get up on those points, right?
Yep.
And the recent fact today, there was a fact for them.
It didn't help them much.
No, it changed like nothing. It changed like
their
heavy
Meltas,
flamer.
Brian.
Yeah, Melta. It didn't even change flamers because there was no flamers, I think, in their army. It was like it was just Melta.
It might have changed their specific flamers because they do have.
Yeah. No, all the faction specific flamers, like the 1,000 Sun specific flamers, didn't change in range.
Burnas did not change.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Only thing that was like called flamer or heavy flamer changed. But so the Tau flamer changed. But like,
all right, GW, get on
the
that.
Yavara flamer didn't. You know what I mean?
Fusion pistols did not get the Melta rule.
Yeah. So
lame.
So it's whether it's an oversight, probably not. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe they just did a find and replace, like
so
flamer.
They didn't even get an extra wound, right? They didn't update that. I guess no one's getting that.
No, they did not get the extra wound.
Nobody's getting that.
Because they don't
except
use
for Blood Angels, because.
But they don't use Codex Space Marines, and now Blood Angels do use Codex Space Marines.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wait. Clearly, there's something big coming for them in the sense that they need the extra wound. Their Codex is going to be cool.
Yeah.
I think they're still fun to play, hard to play though.
They're hard. They're really complicated.
And their Terminators don't have the extra wound or the automatic transhuman.
Thank you, Sean. With the update of the Space Marine Codex, should we be excited for Chaos Marines?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. It makes me optimistic for them because you can see the things that they could do.
If they made Chaos the way they made that book, it would be terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
I still think they should make fewer books like the Space Marine book.
Not more?
And more books like the
If there was another book to
Necron
be like it, it would be Chaos Space
I know,
Marines.
but you know it's not.
It's not. It never is.
Thank you. Again, Magnus did nothing wrong.
Thanks.
I really like how they did the custom Tomb World Johns for Necrons. Oh, hoping Nids get the same treatment for their custom Hive Fleets feels so punishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Totally agree. Well said.
You nailed it.
And last one of the night, thank you, Mr. C. Death Gaze of the NB. What is NB? Nightbringer. Death Gaze of the Nightbringer is nuts.
Yeah.
Good for murdering a Smash Captain. I'm not sure if I want to run Void Dragon or Nightbringer. Which do you both like more?
Nightbringer is the better one.
He's so good. He's always good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
He's unequivocally always good.
And this is the Gaze of Death. Okay, here's his power. Select one enemy unit within 9 inches and visible. Roll 3d6s. For each 4+, it takes d3 mortal wounds. So you could end up doing 3d3 mortal wounds. More reliably, you'll do 1 to 2d3 mortal wounds within 9 inches. Totally great.
That's reasonable.
And if you just one-shot something big, it's mean.
All right, one more squeaked in.
All right,
one last one. Thank you, Phase Adept. Doesn't the Inner Circle ability fit Dark Angels? For Dark Angels, make Deathwing and Ravenwing units over the top? Black Knights seem a bit nuts. Am I overreacting?
No.
So wait, Black Knights don't have Inner Circle, do they?
Black Knights.
Those are the biker dudes.
Do bikers get Inner Circle?
No.
I thought it was only Deathwing that had Inner Circle. But if the Ravenwing has Inner Circle models as well, then if their bikes also can't be wounded on, we read all of these things quickly today. But yeah, okay. The answer to your question is yes.
It is too much.
It's over the top.
It is.
It's too much. Well, we got to try it on the table and see if it actually pans out, but I think it does.
I just wish they just didn't touch anything until the book came out, because I feel like we're still now, all of us, us included, are trying to make decisions based off of half the information.
Yeah.
Who knows what else is going to change in that book, and it's frustrating.
I think so by the end of next week, we'll have played most of the Codex Space Marine chapters.
Yeah.
Near the end of next week and in the week after, we'll start playing Blood Angels and Space Wolves. We don't have Dark Angels yet, but we might be able to get them.
We might be able to.
So, we could test these rules out, and we'll see how we feel.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us.
I'll let you do the sign-off this time, because I already did one sign-off, so you can do it for us.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us in this massive Codex review. Really, really excited about this book. I personally am pumped. I'm going to make sure I get to borrow the book tonight, because I really want to read into it and work on my own list. We'll be featuring them very soon. I think this Thursday will be our first Necron, or second Necron game with the new book. So thank you for that. Again, we do want to mention, if you haven't seen it already, which we know you have, we have amazing premium content. Definitely check it out. There's that join button just on the bottom of your screen. You're going to get early access to content. You're going to be able to see exclusive content that the public actually doesn't get access to. We are
including our first game tomorrow.
Tomorrow, so
6
if you want to see
for members only.
White Scars versus, we said Death Guard?
Death Guard.
That's tomorrow. We'll hit you up with the Discord link. And you also get to vote on stuff, which is actually starting. This is new games, new armies, all that awesome stuff. Join the Discord. You'll get access to the exclusive channels in there. And last of all, the really saucy emojis, which you might have been seeing around. Those are unlocked by becoming a premium member.
That's awesome.
So definitely stay tuned, and we'll see you guys very soon on the Tabletop.